You're watching the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast with Matt and Rich. Welcome back to episode 19 of the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast.
Richard, stop. I don't care. Stop. No one wants to talk to you today. So, first and foremost, I gotta lead with this. I'm tired of Arizona sports teams choking away leads. This little championship ring for the Rattlers, I don't care anymore. I'm so done. I'm not renewing my season tickets next year, and I actually was season ticket holder this year. Anyway, but there was one good thing to come out of that Rattlers embarrassing loss to the Northern Arizona homeless people, and that was the beautiful thing you see behind me. So, months and months ago, I ordered a customized AZ Sports Guy Rattlers jersey. I forgot how much it was. I'm just going to say $130, just because I don't remember. Then, apparently, there was a fire at wherever they make these jerseys, so it's like, oh, hey, we're just going to cancel all the orders, refund it. I was depressed, but fine. Took my money back. I think I bought another Coyotes jersey because I had an addiction at that time. So, skip ahead months, all the way up to yesterday. My wife, my brother-in-law, and I were all walking around the concourse around halftime, and it was actually the team shop right next to the door that we entered in, but it was raining. We got in, didn't care, and started running around. So, get to our seats, whatever. Walking by this team shop later, and I look over at the wall, and I see number 18, and I see AZ Sports Guy, and I'm just staring at this like it's not quite comprehending. I'm like, that's my jersey. That is my YouTube channel. What is this? And I got it back at a discount. So apparently, it still got made. They still shipped a couple of the customized jerseys. Mine was one of the couple that got shipped. But instead of contacting me, asking if I wanted to buy it back, hey, are you still interested? Which I would have done in a heartbeat because it's a vanity project. I have a customized jersey. Bastards, you can't take it away from me. I run up, I'm like, that's my jersey. I start taking pictures. I'm like, that's awesome. Can I buy it back? And I got it. Oh, my wife bought it for me. Thank you very much, honey. It was only $90, so I ended up getting it on a discount back only because they were trying to get rid of it because no one else wanted to buy it. And my brother-in-law, I still cannot comprehend that happened, but my brother-in-law agreed that it probably would have been funnier if somebody would have bought the jersey, and while at a Rattlers game, I just ran into him and wait a second.
That would have been hilarious. All right.
Anyway,
now that you have that out of your system, are you good? Are you good? You happy?
No, because the Rattlers still lost. But
okay.
I'm here.
Well, as you may know, because you guys heard him just a second there, we do have a guest on this week's episode. This is Shane Doan episode 19 of the podcast. Mark, would you like to introduce yourself?
Firstly, yeah, guys, thank you so much for having me. Matt, Richard, I appreciate you guys. I'm looking forward to a great podcast. Looking forward to some good stories and some good takes. My name is Mark. I'm from Toronto. I love hockey. I love sports. And I love the Yotes. Leafs are my first team. I'm not going to lie. I'm a diehard Leafs fan. They're built in my heart, but the Yotes are there. I have a love for small market teams, and specifically Arizona. I love the state. I love the weather. I love the low income tax. And I always loved, as a kid, I've always loved the Coyotes. Shane Doan is one of my favorite players in the league. Radim Verbata, again, I'm a little younger than you guys, so Radim Verbata, again, just me growing up that those guys, Mike Ribeiro, these are my guys. I remember growing up with Ilya Brizgalov, what a legend. Yeah. So I've always, Arizona's always a special place for me. I've always loved the Yotes, and always will. I really they're my team in the West. They're my merch in the West. That's what I got. That's what I rep.
Man, I never thought I would say this on American soil, but the Canadian is based.
The Canadian, I'm surprised. So I want to hop. Oh wait, before did you shout out some plugs? Do you have some plugs that you'd like to shout out?
Oh, in Arizona?
No, just any social medias or podcasts or things like that.
No, I'm good. Don't worry, all good. I'm all good. Right. I'm with you guys. Don't worry. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right.
Get the offer.
I'm going to get right into the hard hitting question because, as our viewers may know, we go back at Canada. So Canada, we have a love-hate relationship. As Matt knows, I put Toronto in at the Stanley Cup Finals. And I had the Flames there, and I believed that the Flames might actually win it all Toronto would just squeak out a loss just at the very end because I felt like Markstrom was a excellent goaltender, and I still do believe he is an excellent goaltender. But we do have some disagreements from the border to the north. A lot of them portray the Coyotes as a very dysfunctional franchise, in immediate need to be relocated to Houston. Let's see. There's just so much more. What is your general feeling about the Coyotes? I know that you just said that you do love the Coyotes, so there might be some bias there. But how do you feel the Coyotes are portrayed in your market, your media, and whatnot?
Hey, so Richard, that's a great question. So there's it's a lengthier answer. I'm going to touch on a few points.
Okay.
Obviously, want to shout out my buds, the Leafs, give them some love in a minute. But let's start with that first question you asked me, and then get to the point about the Leafs and the Flames. I'll start like this. I believe that the Arizona Coyotes deserve to stay in Arizona for
Okay.
numerous reasons, and it fundamentally starts off with the small market. We spoke about this briefly right before we went live. Gary Bettman, to me, is not someone that I'm in love with as a commissioner of the NHL. I don't love that. I don't love him as a commissioner. So it's funny you're saying that. I actually think Gary Bettman does not like Canadian teams. He dislikes because he knows how successful the NHL is there. He doesn't feel a need to invest as much as he should because of the 40 million people in Canada, everybody loves hockey and everyone adores their teams. If you're from Saskatchewan, you might go for Calgary, Edmonton. You know, like geographically, it doesn't matter where you're from. If your province doesn't have a team, you still love the team next door. You know, like Ontario is a huge province, right? Just for those viewers in the states that aren't familiar, a province is similar to a state. Just Canada has 10 provinces, and it's a much more land. But to Ontario, where I live in Toronto, right? You can drive 6 hours, 7 hours north, still be in Ontario, and you'll find diehard Leafs fans 6, 7 hours away. So Gary feels that he doesn't have to invest the game as much as he does in the States, which he's right. But at the end of the day, like your loyal fans, you got to give them more love. Like I think the draft in Montreal, I'm sure we'll touch on it later, and I just want to start with that. Like that's something that was amazing. Like that was an amazing event for hockey. Like it was good to see hockey back in the center of the hockey universe between Toronto and Montreal, and you see, like these smaller markets, as they're so called, like Calgary and Edmonton and Winnipeg, specifically those three. I'll get to Ottawa in a minute, and I know you want to touch on it later. Like these guys, like they're yes, they're small markets. They're sold out every night. These guys, these players walking the streets, they're adored, they're loved. So that's what I want. That's the first thing I wanted to bring out was that like I think from Gary does great things. Gary does not great things. One of the not great things he does is show the Canadian people some love. That's why they always want to fire him, and that's what they always, because it started when the booing started. I read this. I can't from this, but I believe the booing started of the Stanley Cup ceremony in 1993 when the Habs won, the last Canadian team to win a cup. I believe that's when it was. So it's just funny it started then, and it's gone all the way till now with the drafts and everything. It all started from the Canadian teams because there is some frustration. And yeah, but regarding the Arizona point, so Gary Bettman he has some amazing qualities as a commissioner, as a leader, and one of them being is recognizing the potential for a small market team to blossom into a big market. There's many examples. You can look at Nashville. When Nashville is rocking now, players want to play there. Vegas is an obvious answer to that. Seattle is an answer that's going to be coming over the next few years. Teams like Dallas, right? I do think there should be another team in Texas. I think there's too big of a market there. The population's too big to not have a second hockey team there, especially when you look at other sports like baseball, where you have the Stros, where you have the Rangers, where you look at football, where you have the Texans, and you have the Cowboys, and you look at basketball, you have the basketball actually, right? But my point being is that like in basketball, you have the Rockets and the Mavericks, right? Like hockey's the only sport and the sport that needs the most because hockey, their whole identity is they want to grow more in the States. They want USA Hockey to be a bigger thing, as good as it get it. By the way, we'll get to that too, I'm sure later. So that being said, I believe that having Arizona stay there and letting them blossom into what they become with the good ownership that they just brought in. I will talk about Marulo later. He's a great owner. You can tell already the fundamental things that he's doing for his players and his team, and bringing leadership like Billy Armstrong. And I think that's a huge thing. And I think this new arena, we're all praying that it gets done. We're all praying that it gets approved because it could be something really special. Like the whole district of Tempe I'm not geographically, I don't know Arizona so well because I've never been there. I've seen many pictures. I have a couple of good friends that live there. And it looks like the potential is there. And the fans are there. Guys like you, the fans are there. So I really, really believe that the NHL, should they move to Houston? No, obviously not. Should they bring a team in? Should they expand to 34? I think 34 will be the max to expand to. I think Quebec City deserves a team, and I think Houston deserves a team, and you stop it there and let the NHL thrive. That's where I think you stop at. Will that come down the road? We'll see. When Gary's done, Gary's already, I think, 72 years old or something. So I don't know what he's got left in the tank, lower 70s. So that's what I think. I think Houston deserves a team. I think Quebec City deserves a team. We can talk about that later if you guys want. I'm sorry for the lengthy answer, but that's how I feel.
No, it's a great answer. I really appreciate
Great
it.
answer,
Yeah,
honestly.
I'm gonna toss over to you, Matt. Do you have any questions or?
Well, I really wanted to just I have to get a little bit of hate in here because as much as I loved your arguments, I honestly don't inherently disagree with any of the logic or anything like that. F Quebec and F Houston because the amount of their fans that have harassed us, I don't
But
want them to get
Hey,
teams for
so
that
hey,
reason.
hey, Matt. No, so I get what you're saying for sure, but I just want you to understand, nothing to do with the Yotes. The Yotes are staying. I saw every petition I see, I sign, and I'm not from there, and I always
Mhm.
get like every petition. The
You get
Tempe's, I'm
cooler.
signing
Don't worry
everything.
about it.
I'm an
You
American
get
citizen.
cooler.
I'm an American citizen, so I. No, but real talk, like I just think if you're talking from a marketing standpoint, I think those
Yeah.
two cities
Yeah.
as expansion franchises would really benefit the NHL. And as a Leaf fan, I just pray and pray every year that the cap could just go to where it was supposed to be. Well, I'll touch on that. Well, again, we'll touch on that, I'm sure, a little bit later about Kyle Dubas. I want to talk about that a little bit. But regarding the Yotes, like that new arena looks beautiful. They want to add a practice facility to that. They want to have concerts there. They want to build residential buildings. They want to. I'm not. Again, I'm not 100%. It's 13 with everything, just because geographically I don't know Arizona as well. But they want to redo the lake or something there to make it beautiful. Like
But
that's what a vibe that'll
potentially.
be. What a city that place will be popping, right? Like that'll be amazing if they redo that lake. The lakefront, the malls, the residential suites, everything, the jobs they want to create, the energy they want to produce. Like to me, it's a no brainer that thing gets through. I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only one downside is the traffic, and I'm pretty sure with a couple of years of planning, they can find a solution. I don't know how
Exactly.
great the solution would be, but I just know that if everyone wants to get it done, and I'll just go ahead and say it right here, same thing with any other business venture. If the party that wants to build on the land is willing to invest a little more, I guarantee a solution could be found there.
Right. And I don't want to hear that BS from the airport. That was ridiculous from Sky Harbor.
Plus, just
Yes.
get rid of the residential, and Sky Harbor can't really complain anymore. From what I
Yeah.
understand of their arguments, it was this and this about residential and that and whatever. I'm like, okay, so just cut that because like hotels, you can still have those on there. It's not considered residential. There's different regulations, but I'm like, okay, just get rid of the luxury apartments or whatever, and put something
Exactly.
like community driven. Just I would do it cynically just to appease the council, but at the same time, if it benefits more people, hey, that's good no matter what.
Well, the problem with that is that the RFP, which is what they wanted to do with the land, they purposely wanted to put high density residential there. So I don't think Tempe wants to concede on that point, regardless. I think they want it, and to be honest, if this turns messy and goes to lawyers, Sky Harbor's only going to lose because they signed the documents that Tempe is following, and by those documents, Tempe has all rights to put that high density residential there. Low density,
Exactly.
no. But
Exactly. Right. So also, I think the other thing, I think Matt, you were saying regarding Sky Harbor. I don't want to go too into this. I feel bad for the viewers. I don't know how familiar everyone is. You guys, let me know when to stop on when it comes to the Sky Harbor stuff because I know it's a complicated piece. But I know that the politicians there and the people in the political people in Tempe want the residential buildings because they want more people. So I think the Coyotes are on the same page because the Coyotes, the conveniences for fans, right?
mhm.
Just like in Ottawa, where you have again, I know I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with with Canada geographically, but in Ottawa, right, like the Canadian Tire Center, it's outside downtown Ottawa. It's outside.
Yeah.
It's out. It's not in. It's in a city called Canada. So too in Glendale. We could talk about Craig Morgan. I think he's the best. Like he's literally the best beat writer in all sports. Like how he covers the team and he's friendly with fans and he answers questions. he always talks about the 40-minute drive, the 45-minute drive he has to take. By the way, shout out to the Phoenix Coyotes podcast as well. If you want to shout out, there's one. But he always talks about that drive he has to take to Gila River Arena. Like it's 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And yeah, when a team stinks and the market isn't huge and you have, people are excited about the Cardinals and the Suns, yeah, you're not gonna have a lot of fans when it's so inconvenient to go to games. Yeah, right. So like that's gonna be right, just like young, like young college students and young people. Like they're gonna it's a lively neighborhood with concerts. It's gonna attract a lot of people and a beach. Like that's gonna be amazing. So I think the conveniences of being in Tempe will be amazing. And really, like, just to finish this topic up, to really summarize it, is you move somewhere convenient, you move somewhere attractive, you build residential buildings, you redo this lake. I think they want to put a couple malls in. Correct me if I'm.
I got a big mall over in
That's
Tempe.
just gonna be amazing. Like it checks every box. And I saw the new arena. There you go. There you go. And it's a young up and coming city, right? It is. It's a young people's and fun. It's a fun city, right? Am I wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really fun, especially like Mill Ave. If you're into the drinking scene, not sponsored, could be. I know, Richard, I'm learning from you.
Not sponsored, but could be.
It's a fun drinking down there.
Yeah. Talking, I'm going to tie up a couple of loose ends here that I'm just kind of keeping a mental check of. So we talked shortly about traffic issues with the arena. For those who are old-time fans like myself, the traffic situation in Glendale was not very great either. There used to not be Cardinals Way for all the Arizona fans here. Cardinals Way was an HOV exit that you could take, and that'll take you right between both arenas. That wasn't there, so all the traffic flooded in from the north or the south, and it was just gridlock for years and years and years until they put that new extension in. And funny enough, now it's actually not so bad when you leave the arena, but they're not going to be going back to that. So the traffic situation will work itself out with more time. The other one that you were bringing up was the lake extension. That is still unconfirmed. So essentially, the lake is just a giant lock. It's just, a box that they filled up with water. They would have to put a new dam at the end and then fill it and then destroy the old dam, or just leave it. I don't know what they'll do with that, but that would be really cool if they did do that. That's probably just a big overtaking. And the other problem being that Arizona is kind of a drought right now, so we are kind of running thin on water. The big places that we get our water from have been going down significantly, so I don't know how much people are going to be backed up with let's put water as a lake and call it good. So we'll see. I'm cautious, but I'm optimistic about extending the lake.
Right.
I mean, it's funny you say that because we've had almost no rain for 2 years, and then now the last 2 weeks has just been constant punishment from the thunder gods over here.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell you, like I just think water makes things beautiful, like a nice lake, a nice like I don't know if you guys are familiar with AT&T Park, where the Giants play. That right field, like they're surrounded, they're on the
they're right there on that lakeside.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They're on that lakeside on the bay. It's beautiful. Like that is really, really nice. You can't talk about beautiful ballparks without talking about PNC Park, where the Pirates play. Like again, on the lake, right by the bridge. Like it's just beautiful. So the Yotes in Tempe, like that will be with a revised lake plan. Like that can be something really special. And again, it can maybe revamp all the league's expectations of a beautiful new arena. So just like you said, Richard, just being cautiously optimistic. I think that's the right way to take it.
Yeah. Matt, do you have a question, or I actually have one as well? Unless Mark, do you have a question?
Just go for it, because honestly, I mostly have snarky comments because that's my role.
Mark, do you have any questions about us, or are you ready to just keep slugging them out of the park here?
No, so I wanted to ask you guys a couple questions.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know more about, like, the Coyotes currently practice at the Ice Den, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in Scottsdale.
Right. So how's I'm just curious, how's that facility? Is it nice? Is it
Oh,
and I wanted to speak to you, Richard. I know we spoke for a second about Gila River Arena. I want to talk to you about that a little bit more. Fill me in on that. Again, I'm not so familiar. I want to hear what your takes were on that.
Do you want me to take over the Gila talk, and Richard, you can get the Ice Den talk since you've been to Ice Den more, and I practically grew up in Jobbing.com Arena.
sure. Yeah, I might chime in a little bit on the Gila. Also, I got to culture you here, Mark. The G is an H, so it's Gila. Gila. I know a lot of
Oh, it
people
is?
say Gila, and they also say Tempe, and it's Tempe. You say Tempe obviously correctly, but there's a couple. I believe those are. I think they derive from native words. I don't quote me on that, but they're very funky like that. That the G looks like a. You should be saying Gila, but it's Gila. Um, just to toss that out there. I'm not trying to insult you or anything like that. I'm just informing you. As
Yeah.
for
Oh,
as for Ice Den, Scottsdale, it is a beautiful facility. It's got 2 rinks. I think they want to expand to 3, but I'm pretty sure it's just got two ice rinks right now, and it is top of the line. Like it was remodeled probably 10 years ago, somewhere around that time, and it's consistently been one of the probably prettiest smaller rinks in Arizona. North Scottsdale is pretty much the apex. It is the Beverly Hills. It's the of Arizona, or of Phoenix, I should say. It is like your average income is $100,000 plus, and it is a beautiful arena, or not arena. I keep saying that. Beautiful rink, beautiful area. The biggest concern was recently the Coyotes publicly announced that they're going to be playing at that practice facility, and then right across from the small road, there would be all the workout areas and things like that, where they're going to do their day-to-day business for the corporate side of it. A lot of people took insult to that. Once you've been there, you'll notice, you're like, oh, okay, it makes total sense, because there's literally the den, and then it's like major road, and then there's like a little sub baby road, like just like for your general parking traffic, and then on the other side of the general parking traffic road, there's the I'm assuming the corporate space that they want to take over. Yeah, that's a little obnoxious, but the walk is nothing. It's negligent at most. Arizona, we're not really a state that like bombards players. Obviously, we're well known for being like the place that older players go to like retire, because they're not bombarded with media and people, coming up and asking them constantly. So the walk, you're not going to get like mauled by people. And then on top of that, it's Arizona. It's always beautiful here, especially in the wintertime. You're not walking out into the freezing tundra to cross, 200 feet of road. It's beautiful, sunny. You walk in barely anything to get to that workout facility.
Anything to add, Mark, or can I chime in a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I just found it funny because I think I know the buildings you're talking about, because when you're pulling in, you can kind of see them kind of off behind, and then that's where all the players end up. They walk in on the rear side. So I think that would be the east side of the building or the south side. I'm terrible with directions. If I'm not next, or if I don't know where I am in relation to Gila River Arena, I don't know which way I'm pointing. for the most part,
It'd be the southwest side, I believe.
right, southwest. So it's, oh, hey, all their workout equipment is going to be in office buildings. That's so pathetic. And I'm like, if anything, I mean, it should theoretically be like nicer with the air conditioning and everything. And again, it's temporary for a couple years, because they'll also have that practice facility in Tempe when they're done. And then on top of that, just another side note, we've touched on it before. Even if Tempe falls through, allegedly, there's like 2 or 3 other cities that would love to have the Coyotes build there, and they're both right around the same vicinity anyway. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I just because Mark might help us reach a few more Canadians. I want to try to get the accurate information out there. I was there at that town hall meeting, and one of the council members said that it was an exact quote.
Hey,
So it's they
Matt, you were
are.
there. were there for the 8 hours?
I wasn't there for the whole 8 hours. I was listening to it at work. I got off work. I was like, hey, you know what? Let's see if we can make it over there. And I stayed for, I think, 3 hours, like all the way up until it ended. So I was there for as long as I possibly could, listening
That's
to the
very nice
vast
of you, man.
majority. It was a tiring night, and then I was like, I almost freaking bawled like a baby. I'm like, yes, we're finally one step closer to this team staying here. I am but a giant child. Anyway, and then I want to talk about just Gila River for a minute, because obviously I think it's going to be kind of cool for like the more chilled out atmosphere the Coyotes have anyway, to have them, their workout area essentially being that little office behind the ice den. But the ice den is also a lot better than the one that I went to growing up, the one in Peoria. That one is garbage. Just go to the one in Scottsdale, take the drive, whatever. I have a bit of a personal connection with that one too. So disclosure, I don't like that place. But Gila, man, I'm referring to it as Jobbing.com Arena because that's what I grew up, with it being called. I love that building so much.
By
What's
the
up?
way, hey, sorry guys, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to say, by the way,
Mhm.
I think it was Richard that said, I always remember Matt McConnell, and I remember Tyson Nash. They always say Gila River. They never say Gila.
I don't know
Just a
why.
side point.
We don't.
Yeah.
Matt McConnell and Tyson Nash don't know anything. Like they never have. They never will. Block me on Twitter again, you
They are,
coward.
hey, I think they're great. I love Tyson Nash. I think they're great announcers. I like them. I'm saying I don't know how they,
Hey, I'm in the minority. I strongly dislike Tyson Nash. I guess I'll get into like a 30-second version of the story. So when my dad used to work at the arena, he got to talk to a lot of the players, media personnel, whatever. And when Keith Yandel was here, and good offensive player, terrible defensively, and the amount of times that Tyson Nash would just kind of hype up Keith Yandel all the time, even like trying to cover up for mistakes he made and everything. So my dad asked him one night, he's like, what do you do? Like, Keith Yandle's not that good. And the response from Tyson Nash was, who signs my paychecks? So I know Tyson Nash is just going to say whatever he thinks will appease whoever. So I don't respect him. And ever since I heard that, I'm like, I don't like him. And Matt McConnell, just kind of boring. That's about it.
Right, right, right. Okay, listen. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's perfectly
I'm
fine. You
with
don't
you,
have to
Mark.
agree with me.
I'm chiming in here. I'm not as down on them as Matt is. He has his own personal beliefs, but as for the on production quality of them, I think they're pretty good. The only thing that I've noticed recently is Matt McConnell's eyesight has started to kind of degrade a little bit. I've noticed that he stumbles on numbers quite a bit, that you can very clearly see is like, it's not just like, oh, he misspoke. It's, oh, he thought this 6 was an 8, or he thought, this and that. So that's the only big knack that I have on Matt, is that he tends to get numbers a little bit more wrong, which means that also he gets kind of players wrong, which is, as for like a production standpoint, a little disappointing, because if you're like, he's had one or two calls where he's like, what an unreal goal by Connor Garland, and then it ends up being, Nick Schmaltz or so, just some random different player, and you're like, that kind of sucks, because that throws off the flow of sports broadcasting. But aside from that, I do like both of them. I think their synergy together is quite good.
Begrudgingly, I'll give them that. They do bounce off well with one another. And considering I am giving them any sort of compliment, that has to say something. But anyway, talking about Jobbing.com Arena, right? I don't want to hear you guys praising these two anymore. It's time for me to show up anyway. So, my dad started working there in like 2007, and I just the amount of times
What did your dad do there?
he worked conversion, so he got he would convert the ice surface to concerts and whatever, and he was one of the
Oh,
leads.
that's cool.
He wasn't the highest up, but he's one of the leads, and it was just I basically lived there. Like there are plenty, like I would go there to like print out like papers for school for years. I just go down to his little office. I was in on a lot of the inside jokes. Whatever. I got to play on the Coyotes ice for their full-time Christmas parties. There was my favorite memory is ones I scored on Shane Doan, and I'm not going to elaborate on that because I don't want to embarrass Donor on the Shane Doan episode. But I've always loved that building.
That's very
and
cool.
For me,
That's very cool.
West
You ever
Valley
met the
kid.
players?
Oh yeah, I've met all of them. It got to the point where like I I stopped getting starstruck after a while because I was so used to being around them, and then now I'm just back to being an awkward nobody. So it balanced itself back out as things tend to do. But I've always loved that building, and being a West Valley kid, I'm always used to kind of Wild West, I guess is the best way to say it. We're like more open space, it's a little less crowded. So it always felt awesome to have that arena on this side of town. It was an easier drive for me. So when I was a kid, you don't really think about the perspective of people that actually have the money that are way off on the other side of the state. It feels like, but the other side of the greater Phoenix area, and it's just always loved the building, loved the atmosphere. Didn't like how they couldn't fill it. And in the playoffs, the 2010, 2011, 2012 playoffs, man, those were electric atmospheres. I've seen that
Yep.
building sold out for home openers, important games, and whatnot, but the audience consistently was never there. And then I get older and I start realizing why. And it's sad because I love the building. I still think the building is nice. Unfortunately, they still use those little box TVs in the suites and everywhere because they haven't upgraded. But it's.
I was gonna say that's what Mark was coming at me, questioning me before the pod was about like what how's the quality there, and specifically like how nice the arena is. And I was talking a little bit about how the upgrades are just not there because nobody spent the money to invest it.
And honestly, it's not really worth it because and again, this is primarily just so we have a little more of a Canadian audience. There were confirmed reports, from multiple sources. The city of Glendale wanted between a 15 and 20-year lease. That's probably why the Coyotes stopped paying, to try to get them as a negotiating tactic to get them back to the table. Backfired. Now everyone looks bad. But if they would have signed anything longer than a 5-year extension while they're working with Tempe to try to build that arena, it just would not have worked, because we have constant complaints we're not financially viable. The amount of money coming in just isn't there, because Footprint Center gets most of the concerts. For the longest time, it's a running joke, especially within arena employees, is that the Jobbing.com Arena, Gila River Arena, they get the sloppy seconds. They get the concerts when Footprint Center is all booked up, or for whatever odd reason they're like, yeah, we'll just go to this arena, but you lose a lot more shows than you would gain throughout. So it's
well, Footprint's beautiful, eh?
I like
It's
Footprint.
It's gotten
state-of-the-art,
better.
It's also the Snake Pit, the home of the Arizona Rattlers, the team that I don't care about anymore. I
But
totally don't care about them anymore.
they put
Okay, let me ask you guys.
I was just gonna say
Let me
quickly
ask you guys, if you don't mind.
oh,
Yeah, sure.
okay, I was gonna say they put $230 million into the Footprint Arena, which is where the Suns play, and it looks really good now. Yeah, they definitely put a lot into their investment and made it look really good.
Go ahead, Mark.
Right, yeah. Robbie, their owner doesn't love the Jays. Robbie Sarver. The Jays, excuse me, sorry. The Jays are just playing now. I'm a big Jays fan. I just got a notification on my phone. Not the Jays, the Suns. So the owner, Robbie Sarver, I don't think he loves the Coyotes. I've heard him say some negative comments in the past.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, I had two interesting questions for you guys. First of all, I want to talk about Andrew Barroway. It's a 2-in-1 question. So this is my last two questions I had for you guys, and I'm happy to move on after, whatever you guys want to do. Andrew Barroway, the owner of the Oaks, I think when he bought them from the NHL in like 2011 or something, maybe a little bit later, and then Marulo snapped him in 1920. So I had two questions on him. Do you believe? So, Matt, you brought up a very interesting point of how the Coyotes they did not return their they did not they used it as a negotiation tactic to not send their payments in, which is an interesting negotiation tactic, and I'm sure a lot of Canadians will just laugh at that. I myself have open ears because, again, I have a biasness towards Arizona, so I do definitely hear that out. It's actually something I never thought of, and the logic kind of makes sense. My question is like this: do you believe that Andrew Barroway, as an owner, was a bad owner? Like, do you believe he didn't? Because again, under him, that's the short answer. But under him,
I have a long answer for that. So
Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to hear, because I want to hear about the Andrew Barroway, Don Maloney, Dave Tippett era. Because
Yes.
Dave Tippett's an excellent coach. I've always liked him as a coach. And Don Maloney, I always thought was a good GM. That run 12 was a great run. It was great.
Especially with the shoestring budget, Maloney. If Bill Armstrong pulls off the Cup run, he'll be the best GM in Coyotes history. But until that happens, with what Maloney managed to do with no
Exactly.
budget, no
With
Yeah.
certainty,
nothing.
players looking at this market
Literally,
like we don't know if we're going to be here in a year. Like, it's
right.
impressive, and that man deserves an effing statue or a medal or an honorary something within this organization because
Exactly.
Don Maloney is a
So,
legend.
exactly. And I appreciate, Matt, I love all your side comments, and I appreciate that as well more. I wanted to share that reassurance how I felt. Because, again, I was a young kid. I'm an '03 born, so I'm 19. So
Mhm.
2012 for me is when I really got into the Yotes, when I really, like, that was the year, that run. When we lost to
Mhm.
the Kings in 6 games, the whiteouts, and then the Jets copied it from us again. But the Jets
The
copied it
fake
when they went on
Jets.
their runs in 6. Yeah, listen, I have some love for them. They're a Canadian team. They're a good market. They sell out. Good fans, good people, and good players. So you got to love that. But honestly, like, I just wanted. Okay, so Don Maloney, like, he had pennies on the dollar compared to other teams. And like you said, he pulled it off. But do you believe in Andrew Barroway? Do you believe? Do you believe he purposely didn't update like Gila River Arena or whatever? I remember when it was called Jobbing.com. Like, do you believe stuff like that happened on purpose? Do you believe he tried to screw over the team? I've heard different theories. Um, like, I just, I've heard some of that. And yeah, and just one last thing before we move on. So just that on Andrew Barroway, and what, and just another, just one more point. What happened with the Yotes and the ASU multi-purpose facility that was proposed? I believe it was under Barroway. Was it
Yes.
2019? That was
I
supposed
think
to be
it
the
was
new
17,
arena.
wasn't it?
It was
It was
17.
17.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, it
sorry.
was in that area. No, it's fine. It's
I
fine.
thought it
It's
was
just in
18
that
or 19.
area.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was 18 or 19. Whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Whatever happened to that? Those are my two
Okay.
questions for you. I think, and I want to hear Richard Spun and Andrew Barroway because Matt, you filled me in nice on Maloney and Barroway. But
Mhm.
let me know your thoughts on the ASU multi-purpose arena with the Yotes because I was very excited because as we all know, the ASU, the Sun Devils are a rising star program in NCAA. So we
Yeah.
love that, and the Sun Devils are my team in NCAA. I love them.
There we go.
So fill me in, please fill me in.
Okay. So
You know
Give me the
that
Matt,
knowledge.
answer, right?
I'll hand off the multi-purpose arena that was shot down previously to you. But for myself, I'll go over a little bit about Barroway. Quickly, before I go over Barroway, I'm just going to say this about Maloney. I do appreciate all the trades that he made, some unbelievable trades with the budget that he had. The biggest knock that I had on him was that drafting players that were successful and also developing players that were successful did not happen very well under him. But you could make the argument that also could be because of the lack of money in development and scouting. Perfect, perfect knack or perfect argument back. But that was one of the biggest criticisms I had on Maloney. Next up is about Barroway, who was his owner for a short period of time. So just to give a little bit of a backstory, the Coyotes were owned by the NHL. Shortly thereafter, a few, shall we say, rich people, but depending on who you ask, how rich they actually truly were in capital versus how rich they were in assets, was pretty differentiating, but they were bought by Ice Arizona, one of those owners being Barroway. Barroway goes and spends, I think, 51% to buy out the owners. He still is an owner of the Coyotes, so he's a minority owner still to this day.
What are the
So I don't want
2%?
to, yeah, I don't want to speak too ill just in case anything happens. But Barroway was a hedge fund guy. If you don't know what hedge funds are, it's where you take stocks and you manipulate the market. So there's this thing called day trading. There's also, I'm not going to get too boring into the stock talk, but essentially you can short stocks and stuff like that, which is where I look at AMC and go, I think they're going to do bad. And then I short them by saying they're going to go down. And I make money by saying that they're going to go down. And they do go down. There's a lot of that going on. And him being a part of that is very questionable because the thing is I don't deny that he had the money, but the thing is that when you have your money in assets versus having actual capital is two significantly different things. And by doing that, you saw he as an owner was, don't get me wrong, Chaika, the previous general manager, was pretty crafty with his thoughts. I don't think
Okay,
Maloney
so
ever.
Richard,
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but I was going to get to that next. That was the last point I
Okay.
remembered. I thought I want to get to Chaika for a minute after, but continue, please.
Okay. Okay. I'll hold off from Chaika.
Yeah, hold
So
off. Hold off. Thank
so
you.
to finish up on Maloney, The biggest thing is I don't believe he actually had the capital to run this team, the actual money. And by doing so, I think that really hindered the team. And it was one of those tumbling domino effects where when you don't have the capital to take on the negative, the red, because the ownership now is like taking on the red, but to him it's no big deal because you can write that red off. So he's a billionaire. Let's say he makes 200 million on a casino. Well, he goes, well, I just lost 80 million on the Coyotes, and he can tack that onto his 200 million profit, and then all of a sudden he only has to pay 120 million dollars worth of tax money. That's how that works. If for listeners that don't understand, the problem with Barroway is he couldn't do that. He files for bankruptcy if that happens. So because of that, he had to cut corners in every single step possible. And by doing so, we got problems with the arena. We got Shane Doan not being allowed to make his decision whether he wants to sign or retire. Right? That was management. That was Barroway. He publicly went onto NHL's network to publicly apologize for axing Shane Doan, after all he's done for this organization.
Literally.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to sit here and insult Barroway and say, oh, he deserves to be, castrated, but the he did keep the team in Arizona and he wanted to keep them here. It was just one of those things where he was it's one, like, when you're desperate for money, you take anybody you can get. And if you let the loan shark in to give you money, you reap what you sow. And essentially that's kind of a little bit what happened.
And then because Richard's a lot nicer than me, yeah, I'll go ahead and say this right now. My thoughts are my own. My opinions are my own, not Richard's or the podcast. But I will talk ill about Barroway all day because of a lot of the things I've heard about him as a person, as well as when you have that big ownership group that came in, it was a bunch of people that just did not have the liquid capital. They didn't have the liquid money to just be able to do whatever they wanted with. And I was working at the arena at the time, so I was working for the parking lot department. I was working the lot that let all the owners in. They were all very nice, very good people. They just didn't have the funds. Then Barroway takes over, and I'm going to go ahead and just contradict what Richard said. He didn't have the finances to actually run the team. Like an actual capital, actual money to spend, he simply didn't. So that's why you saw, like Richard mentioned, a lot of the cuts, a lot of the shaving corners, a lot of the we're an NHL franchise, but we're probably better compared to an AHL franchise because that's how we were being run. So it's I have no problem saying again my own views. Yeah, I don't like Barroway. He essentially was the same type as Chaika, which I'll start off and then Richard can finish off with Chaika, but he's essentially a snake oil salesman. It's you have a decent pitch,
right?
You might even be able to deliver on some of it. You might even be able to, but he was not what we needed long term. However, Richard made an excellent point. He did keep the team here. For everything negative I could say about him, he still, when we needed them to be here, he kept them here. So if he ever watches this, he already strongly dislikes me. That's fine. I don't care. But I will at least thank him for that and give him full credit there.
Exactly.
Now it's Chaika.
Okay. So this is a whole nother topic in itself. Richard, I want to hear what you have to say, but I do want to ask you guys quickly. You can make it quick, no pressure. Just on what happened, the fallout with ASU Multipurpose Arena 2018.
All right, so this one, Richard might know the exact details, but here's how it was explained to me. So they wanted to go to business with ASU. ASU was interested, but given the fact that Barroway simply did not have the financing he said he did, there was a lot of shystiness with either the books or just how his business was ran. I forget which. I'll just say how it was ran as opposed to the books themselves, because I feel like saying the books might actually open us up to some bad speculation. So I'll just say with how it was ran. So ASU looks at that. They see a lot of uncertainty, and they're like, we're not, no. And then I remember hearing about this. I think I saw it in the newspaper. I didn't actually watch it, but there was like a press conference where the Coyotes were announcing all this stuff and how they wanted to do it, and no one from ASU was there. And then it had come out that ASU had exited all talks, and that's actually why they went into their multi-purpose arena in the first place, because they still wanted an arena for ASU, but the original plan was they wanted to share it with the Coyotes hockey and ASU hockey. And then I don't know if you heard the reports, but their talks came out that the ASU wants to use the Coyotes' new Tempe arena for the men and women's basketball instead of having to use Desert Financial Forum. So
Which is
it
a
probably
dump.
would have been the exact same thing. So I'm just going to assume it would have been the exact same thing what they wanted to do there, but yeah, now they want to do it here. So it just came down to, yeah, the financing wasn't there. ASU bowed out and said, "I'm not getting into bed with this individual." And then to me, that really should, once again, just a bigger audience watching this potentially, that really should give more confidence in Marullo actually having the funds, because ASU has already shown a history of not being willing to deal with Arizona Coyotes ownership that does not have the funds they say they do, and slash or was not running the business the way ASU was comfortable with bringing in a new partner.
Right, right. So, okay, so just to sum that up, pretty much, just from my understanding and take is that they didn't have the cash flow and they didn't trust Barroway. But we
Yeah.
can all agree that it would have been. I know. Okay, let me ask you. Okay, fine, that's great. I appreciate that answer. Let me ask you one more quick question. How far is the new arena, the new ASU arena, from the new proposed Tempe arena where the Yotes want to play?
Like less than 2 miles, I want to say. It's
Oh,
That's not
less
okay,
than
very
that's
that.
far.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I just think that it's so important that these, like ASU, is a rising organization in Arizona, a rising for sure for hockey, and you know the popularity there. I'm sure is they're a team and they have these good young players. And they have the new arena, so I think that'll be really beneficial. God willing, in a couple of years when the Yotes get everything sorted out, that you'll have again. They won't be literally in the same arena like the original plan under Barroway was, but now rather they're a couple miles apart. So let's say you have a situation like right now, like Josh Stone, who's an Arizona Coyotes prospect, who's playing at ASU, right? So he can walk down the street and go talk to the Yotes. He can go speak with Andre Turgenev. He can have a conversation with him. He can speak to the Coyotes developmental staff. He can you know what I mean? Like that'll be so beneficial. Obviously, being in the same arena, you can't compare that convenience, but just being down the street a mile or two away, like that'll be amazing. Then when everything's sorted out, which we hope will happen.
So don't quote me on this. I'm not gonna say for a fact that this is true, but I believe because he plays under the or the NCAA, I don't know if he can talk to the Coyotes staff
Yeah, that's probably true. That makes sense.
like
I just realized that. No, you're
yeah.
right. you're no,
Training
But
camp, so
you're
I think
bang
there
on.
has to be some
yeah,
sort of wiggle room, like
yeah,
maybe for certain periods they're allowed to work out with them and allowed to talk to them, but other than that, they'd have to. I would imagine it would have to be some sort of like chain of command or some sort of like process to follow. But it
hmm
would still be a lot easier if you're down the road and then when
it
the process is like, okayed or
it
whatever.
it doesn't change the fact is though that he could play with like the other players in the offseason, right? Like if he wants to go skating with
Right,
Keller,
exactly.
he could
Exactly.
absolutely do that, right?
Right.
Um,
So right, like you can have Smalty and Cal skating with him, exactly like you're saying, and I think that's a great thing. So yeah, okay, and yeah, all right. So that's really it I have for you guys. I appreciate all the answers. Great information. Good to know. Again, I'm not as familiar with Arizona as I wish I can be, but
yep.
this definitely paints the picture, and we're obviously hoping for the new arena. And I just like if it sounds like this Tempe Council wants to get it done. Obviously, the Coyotes want to get it done. It sounds like Rulo has the finances. Billy Armstrong's optimistic about it. I always forgive me if I pronounce his name wrong, but Xavier Gutierrez,
Javier
our
Gutierrez. I
Javi,
presidency.
got it wrong too because I'm an idiot.
Javi, yeah, Javi.
So I'm with, yeah. So Matt, I'm with you. I'm an idiot too. So Javi
It's not
Gutierrez, our president.
it's not incorrect, by the way, you two. Some people do pronounce it Xavier. Some people do pronounce it Javier. It's one of those ones where
Okay.
you look at it.
Okay.
You will be corrected, but it's like looking at Patrick Waugh and somebody saying Roy, right? Like
Right.
yes, for us hockey fans, we're like, how dare you? That's blasphemy. But like it's I don't remember what the word is, but it's
You trying to say
correct.
francophones?
No. Phonetically, I think is the word. Phonetically, it's correct.
We're not intellectuals on this
Yeah,
podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
no
We are
intelligence here.
bumbling buffoons.
I think phonetic's the word, but yeah, it. Finish up with what you're saying. Sorry, I've my squirrel brain went
Yeah.
off into.
So no, just yeah. It's just that was just that's we're hoping Marula. We're hoping this works out. It just if this doesn't work out, it's just so frustrating. Again, I don't live there, so I can't. I'm sure it's even worse for you guys. Just the vibe, like, come on, man, just get it done. Like, this is
Yeah.
ridiculous. We want to, we're just bringing in revenue for your city. We're bringing a good vibe. We're bringing the best sport in the world that everyone loves. That unfortunately, it's whose line is it? Give me a second here. I'm just thinking. I don't know if it's. I forgot. It's a book I read. It's one of the hockey books I read. Like it could be. It could be. I don't know if you guys know Sean McIndoe. He's an author where he works the Athletic. I don't know if I pronounced his name wrong, McIndoe or something. Sean, if you're listening, I apologize, but whatever. He's a phenomenal author. My friend lent me his book once. I read it. It's just like the front page is like, and it's so true. You guys might laugh. You guys might get a good chuckle out of this. But like the world's greatest game with the world's most dysfunctional and worst league. Like
Yeah.
marketing. It's just like hockey. Like I'm in American camps all the time. I've been in American camps all my life in the summer. I go in as a Canadian. You're a minority, and like you guys love playing. Not that I don't. I love basketball. I love football. I love baseball. I love all these. I love all these sports, and I play them. And I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge Jays fan. A huge Raptors fan. I actually go for the Dolphins in the NFL. Get to that a little later. Why that happens, but and obviously the Leafs, my boys. So like. But when I come, these kids are always they don't know hockey so well, and they see it and they're like, "This is unbelievable!" Like lacing them up, even street hockey or
Yep.
go on rollerblades because sometimes ice is too feasible. It's a little feasible because it is, and it's expensive, and it's it's not everyone can afford it, and that's why you have like the Arizona Coyotes Foundation. And I know the Yotes are investing a lot in the state, which is always a very good and special thing, and you can see it with players like Cutter Gauthier, and I'm sure you want to get to this, and Matthew Nyes and Josh Stone, and obviously. Big
Mm-hmm.
Poppy, Austin Matthews, and even Matthew Kachuk's from there when Keith was there, and Brady's from there. So again, we can get to that a little later. Just how Arizona is the fastest growing hockey state in the states by percentage wise. So just these little things you see it just investing in the game, and just back to the NHL, like just get this done, Tempe, get this done for the fans, get this done for the people. Everyone deserves this. They've been we as Yotes fans have been through so much, and it's
Yep.
just like get it done. This new arena, like the inside looks beautiful. I don't know if you guys know. So if you're familiar with SoFi
Yep.
Stadium, where the Rams and the
Yep.
Chargers play, like they have that jumbotron, like that
Mm-hmm.
inside. It's like in your face. That's what they want to do in Tempe, and it can just be state of the art. And Logan Cooley, Maverick Lamoureux, our boys, Connor Geeky, these guys all deserve it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Dylan Gunther. We can talk about everyone. These guys deserve it. And
Brothers and
obviously,
sisters.
we don't even need to start with Clayton Keller and all these boys. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, let's carry on.
I just again, I never thought I'd say it on American soil, but the Canadians are based. But on top of that, I said it at the council meeting. I actually got to speak for a few moments, and I was like, look, people, especially
Publicly.
our neighbors from the
He
north,
Yeah,
publicly,
he got to put his opinion in on record, which is pretty cool
even
about the
though I was an
arena.
idiot and I bubbled over myself,
That's
but
amazing.
whatever. Everyone knows I'm an idiot. It's fine. But I was like, Canadians, as much as I like to give them crap, they do essentially. It's also one of my favorite lines to troll like jerk Canadian fans with. Is Canadian fans help keep this team afloat? The amount that are what I forgot what the term is, but they will live down in like warmer areas
Snowbirds.
during the winter. Snowbirds, thank you. I have no idea
Mm-hmm.
why I blanked that. This is why I have
The
Richard. He's the
Snowbirds,
intellectual.
Snowbirds.
But they'll come down here and they'll go to hockey games, because they'll go play golf, stay at resorts or have properties out here. They've
Yeah.
been helping to keep this team afloat for years, and especially for the most part, ticket prices have been cheaper here. They'll spend more on average because, like, oh, hey, I'm used to paying X for a Leafs ticket or Y for a Canucks ticket, but it's so much cheaper here, and they end up buying more stuff and becoming like partial Coyotes fans here. It's like you're bringing a lot of that to Tempe. So I want to make sure point that out when I was there. I'm like, a lot of money's been coming in from our neighbors from the north. and I don't know. I just it's both a really cool thing and also a really funny thing to point out to when some Canadian fans are trying to get uppity with you. So I like that point.
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right. I want to tell you something else. I want to
Hmm.
address one thing. I want to address one thing. Okay, Katie String. You guys know Katie String?
Oh,
Unfortunately,
we unfortunately do.
Okay.
that is
Okay. I want to
borderline
talk
an
about it. I
offensive
want to
term
talk.
around these parts.
You're right, and you're right, and you're 100% right. It is. That's why I'm bringing her up because it's important we talk about her.
Mhm.
Okay, I love the Athletic. I subscribe to it. My friends love it. All us big hockey fans who go for the Leafs.
Mhm.
We can talk about how Craig Morgan used to write for the Yotes on it, and then he
Hmm.
stopped because he switched over to Phoenix State. You guys know. I'm not sure if you guys are subscribed to the Phoenix Sports Network,
Oh,
like the
I
whole
am.
website thing. I don't know
I
if you guys are
am.
familiar.
He
Yeah.
subscribed.
So
I'm
Craig,
not because I'm
like I
broke.
said, like I said earlier in the show, like Craig Morgan is, I think, the best beat reporter in sports. Honestly, just how he answers questions on Twitter. He's so good. He's so nice. I'm sure. I don't know. Have you
Honest.
guys met him ever in person?
I have. Yes, I have. I've followed Craig
Yeah.
for a very long time, so I actually started listening to him on his original podcast, The Natty Hattie, on AZ Sports
Right.
987.
Is he
And
as nice in person as he
oh
is
yeah,
in video?
yep.
Yeah, he's great. So is Leah Merrill. Leah Merrill's great too. He's awesome
Hmm.
on the podcast. But anyway, like I want to get to what I was trying to say. So like Katie Strang, okay, like she puts out all these reports, and I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not. The Athletic is usually very, very, very credible with their sources, so I don't like want to get into specifics. But like, come on, man, like you're not going to you're not going to hire a beat writer for the Coyotes. That's one thing, but to
Yep.
hire a writer to literally discriminate against the team and
Yep.
just pull out all the dysfunctions. The fans don't deserve this. Like, come
Nope.
on. It's like if it is like okay, if it is true, you're right. But now, like, what do you like? She's like talking about how Marulo lost money during COVID, so now he's not going to pay for the arena, even though he said he's going to probably fund all that money. How do you not
Yep.
believe the man? He seems sincere. He wants to win the championship. You're going to say Billy Armstrong's dysfunctional? Like, who are you to say that? Like behind closed
So
doors, and not only that, she doesn't like. And I don't want to discriminate against her. Like, I'm not saying she's a bad person at all. God forbid. I just
I think
like
she is.
she does excellent work for the Athletic. Besides the Coyotes, she does
so
she does excellent work. Again, I'm Canadian. I'm Canadian. I have that heart. You know the Canadian, us Canadians.
I I'm
But
I'm gonna I'm gonna point you out here some of her hypocrisies. Continue on. I don't want to completely cut
yeah,
you off.
no, you're good. You're good. But I just want to finish up on what I'm trying to say about Katie. Like
Yeah.
she just just say something positive about the organization. Like
She can't.
like okay, so
Mm-mm.
like you like Richard, literally like you said, like but you're right. Matt, like 100. I agree, she can. But like you said, like maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't pay because they wanted leverage. Why can't you bring that up as a proof of maybe why? She could only say the negative. Like it's crazy, it's mind-boggling. And like I just want to reiterate what I said 30 seconds ago. How do you not hire a beat writer for a team that can cover the team, but you hire someone to literally just discriminate and hate on the team and make fun of them and just show how dysfunctional they are and just make the rest of the NHL laugh? How is that? How is that allowed?
Richard,
Yep.
can I answer this one? Can I take over for a
All
minute?
right, you can take over, but if you don't do a good enough job, Matt, I will start talking over you
Shut
out of
up.
anger.
You ain't gonna do nothing anyway. Anyway, but so when it comes to the actual legitimate reason, it comes down to well, I know they're not print, but it comes in the same form. That form of media is dying. The Coyotes get clicks. A lot of salty, primarily Canadian fans always try to deny that. Yet whenever you see any social media post that's like, "Oh, the Coyotes can't have their logo," etc.
Oh, the Coyotes are playing at 3,200 seats.
Oh, the Coyotes can't afford a $24 million annex that they're paying for up front. Anyway, so it's like when you see that, you see stupid amounts of engagement, usually from Coyotes fans being angry, and then anti-Coyotes Canadian fans. So there's a few more good people like you up there. I'll try to be more fair. Anti-Coyotes Canadian fans are
Thanks,
like, oh,
Matt.
see, this is exactly why they don't deserve. They should relocate. Whatever. It's about clicks. This is an Arizona perspective. You're gonna have your own. That's fine. But when it comes to uh, they're garbage. The Athletic is garbage, especially from a Coyotes perspective.
Well, Kate
It's
Strang is
everything about
garbage.
clicks.
Yeah, Kate.
I've read a lot of bad reporting in general on primarily about Coyotes. Disclosure, little asterisk, but I've seen a lot of really bad reporting, really bad pieces, and things that probably should not have made it past editors. Because one example was that the Coyotes are not allowed to alter the ice surface. We have banged this to death, and it's still. I cringe and burst out laughing when I still hear anti-Coyotes Canadian fans being like, "Oh, you still can't have your logo at center ice," but it's like, okay, we can't alter it. Meaning, whenever the ice is set, because ASU has their own sponsors, they have to be able to, keep up their agreements. It's their building. If they're going to put their logo at center ice, well, it's probably going to be both Coyotes and ASU. But let's say the Coyotes are on the outside of center ice and ASU is the big one in the center. Doesn't really matter. We can't alter that. We can't rip their sponsors off and put our own over there. We can't cover up their sponsorships with digital advertisements on the broadcast. Logical. Sounds like a very standard thing. Whenever the Hot Shots played at ASU, they didn't, to my knowledge, cover up ASU's logo at center field, because I don't think they did. So it's makes sense. Oh, that means they can't have their own logo at center ice. Like, just taking, even in context, I don't know how you made that assessment, and then everyone just ran with it. I've seen really bad reporting. It just comes down to they need clicks because they're dying, like everyone else is. So it's like, hey, we'll get some clicks here.
I'm gonna start list. I'm going quick here with some of the hypocrisies that are currently floating around with the Coyotes. I hope you as a Canadian will do your best. I know you're already biased towards the Coyotes, but you'll do your best to spread the Arizona word up north here. All right, so I'm gonna start hot-shotting these. Okay, so you'll see online 3,200 seats. Where does that come from? Well, Elliot Friedman posted something about it on Twitter. I do respect Elliot Friedman significantly. The only problem with Elliot Friedman is that if he gets something wrong, he doesn't typically go and recorrect anything. Like, he won't follow up with updates. And because of so, a lot of Canadians still...
I do... Sorry,
Yep.
I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to add in a side comment here.
Yep.
Elliot really, like, first of all, he's amazing. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. He's a great reporter. He's a nice guy. I met him in person. He's a super nice guy. Cares about the fans, cares about the people in Toronto and Canada, and I'm sure in the States too. But Elliot, it's probably like I'd give him the benefit of the doubt because you guys, again, I don't know, like I don't even know, but I might know a little bit more than you because I'm a little bit more familiar with him. Just because, again, he lives locally, he lives nearby. Like the guy is so busy with everything. I don't know, like I don't know if he has time to correct. He's the man.
He may
know what
not.
I mean, like not.
Yeah, he may
I'm dead
not. That's
serious.
logical.
Yeah, that is a fair argument. And let me be clear, like, I really like Elliot Friedman as well. I think that he is one of those reporters. He's a little Canadian biased, but that's fair. I mean, he is where he is. You got to be a little biased towards your markets, right? And for the most part, he is very honest about all of his reporting. He's on top of everything, very well organized. I really like him. Just something I want to quickly say is that he coined the phrase 3,200 seats. When he was doing his research, or maybe somebody else was doing the research, and he found, they said something, the misinformation was that when the Coyotes decided to get into bed with ASU and play in their multi-purpose arena, they had to figure out a solution for the locker rooms, right? You cannot have NHLers in an NCAA locker room. It is against the NCAA's rules. So they had to figure out some sort of solution. One of the proposed plans was to rip up a bunch of seats and put the annex inside the building. This was one of those plans. Another
but like
plan,
you said, the annex is going to be next door, which is totally fine. And I heard it's going to be really nice.
yeah, it's going to
we've
be
already seen
just
the frame come up.
offside the building. It's an extension. Because of that, he reported 3,200 because he saw one of like ABC type plans, and he took either intentionally or unintentionally the worst number. This is significant because now people that are not Coyotes fans believe it's 3,200 seats. We did the math on this podcast. If you were to take 1,500 seats, right? So That's the amount of seats that would be lost from 4,700 to 32. 1,500 seats. Do the math yourself. Multiply 1,500 seats by 41 games, and then multiply however much the tickets are. So let's just be generous and go like $130. That's almost like $20 million worth of revenue that you're just removing from the picture fictionally because of those seats. Matt.
I didn't want to interrupt you, so I wanted to wait for you to finish your point. So the exact tweet was something along the lines of, for the proposed annex, paraphrase, disclosure, for the proposed annex, the capacity could go down to as low as, I think it was 3,500. So it might have been 32, but I'm pretty sure it was 3,500. And for some reason, 3,200 kept sticking. And I've called them out before. On STPN, that trash. Dangle podcast. Oh no, it's 32. It's like, yeah, you guys are idiots. I will say that openly. I don't care who likes them, who doesn't. I have friends that work there or are friends with Steve Dangle. I still think he can sit and spin, but that's how that misinformation kept going because they see this low number. And it might be from Elliot Friedman. Earnestly, this is what I'm hearing. It could go as low as this. Then someone takes that, it's going down to 3,200. Oh my God, they're only going to have 3,200 seats. This is a travesty. In reality, it's going down to 4,700. We lost 300 seats. I think they found probably the best solution. That's good. But we also other misinformation like the lack of the students section. Wow. But anyway, so just toss it back over to you.
By the way, one of the whole sides of the arena is a dedicated student bleacher section, which is going to be sold at significantly less prices. This is actually funny enough. The next thing I was going to talk about, this is a mixture between Katie Strang and STPN. I respect Jesse Blake a lot because he actually tries to put his opinions out there with good solutions. He brought up the idea, he coined the phrase of how about we move the Coyotes to Houston for a couple of years, they get the arena built, we bring them back to Arizona, and then we expand into Houston. He brought this up because of, I think it was a basketball team after a disaster did this. I thought he has some really good criticisms. He really expands on stuff. The problems that we have with SDPN is, personally, I think that Steve Dangle just doesn't have the time or just doesn't really care all that much, so he doesn't put a lot of the time in to actually research. My biggest qualms is with Adam Wilde. So the problem is that I know Adam Wilde is very smart. He's a very smart man. I've listened to his. Matt's gonna be angry here. Just shush for a minute here. I know he's a very smart man. I've listened to his history talks. I've actually listened to their podcast for a very long time growing up. The problem is that he intentionally acts in bad faith, and I'm almost convinced of this, that he does it on purpose because he knows that he wants to push this narrative of the Coyotes are incompetent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the big one is that he obviously, most recently in the past month or two, they literally had a dedicated video about the Coyotes saying this arena and all the disasters, or the Coyotes are really going to play in a college arena, or whatever the video was. And he actively kept trying to correct people, saying, no, it's 3,200 seats, which it's not. It's 47. The president and CEO of the Coyotes, even before that podcast released, publicly stated that it was 4,700. On top of that, he would actively read Katie Strang's articles without actually doing any critical thinking. So a good example of this is in that podcast, I believe, or maybe it was a previous one where they were talking about the Coyotes. He was talking about how, oh, look at the numbers. Katie did the numbers. How are they going to be profitable? These tickets are going to have to be over $300 a seat because of how expensive they are. Well, let's go and do some looking. And we dig into it. Okay, so the Coyotes make the claim that they may be more profitable at ASU. How is this so? This is a little suspect. Okay, well, let's look at how Katie Strang derives from her number to $300 a seat. Okay, less people, less money, less this, less that. Okay, we got less numbers here. And then we're also going to put on what is the operating cost at Gila River Arena and use that as a one-to-one comparison of a 4,700 seat arena. Are you
Which
really
makes
telling
absolutely
me?
no sense.
Are you really going to tell me that the operating costs are the exact same as a building half the size? Are you
Less than half the
serious?
size, actually. I think it's like
Less than
closer
half
to
the
a
size.
quarter. And
Yeah.
on top of that, that's why I'm going to disagree with you. He is an idiot. Because if you're going to read that, you have to either be brain dead stupid, which I genuinely think a lot of the people that argue against the Coyotes are, and I've argued for a long time. Come at me. But also, you have to either want to see something out of this text to confirm a bias, or because your media is dying, you want to get some extra clicks because the cup finals were going on. We're still talking about the Coyotes and their 4,700 seat arena. Playoffs are going
32.
on.
Sorry.
Coyotes. The draft's going on. Oh my God, those
How
gosh
much?
darn
Hey
Coyotes.
guys, quick question. Hey, how much cash could the Yotes bring in ASU? A significant amount of cash. They actually
We're
make
talking
like
about
decent cash.
profits or like total.
Profits.
Mm.
I wouldn't imagine it'd be very much. I'll just say at least. Well, not at least. I would say it'd probably be like a very small margin, maybe what 5 million in profits. It wouldn't be large, but it would be easier to profit than what they were doing at Hill River Arena, considering the lower costs as well.
Yeah, so I'd find it tricky because it really depends on how much the ownership's willing to go into the red, right? So we're seeing, talking about the Chaika thing that I didn't get to bring up, we're seeing the bringing on the LTIR contracts, which definitely helps reduce that amount of negative load that you're taking, because obviously the insurance takes 90% or whatever it is. And so I don't believe that it will be much better. I think it'll be at even or just slightly less, but it depends because once again, the Coyotes didn't sell out the lower bowl. Remember, the joke was, oh, look at the lower bowl of the Coyotes. There's nobody there when they're at Gila River Arena. Every seat is a lower bowl seat, and the Coyotes are 2/3 sold out on their season tickets this year. 2/3 already, and we're 3 months in from they started sales in the off season,
We're going to be terrible this year again. They
and we're
averaged
going to
a
be
little
terrible. Yeah.
over or a little under 12K last year. Context: the Rattlers are constantly a playoff contender. They average usually, except for the last couple of years because pandemic and everything, they usually average 10K or more. Meaning the Arizona Coyotes being the worst team in the league, bottom two, bottom three for however long, still managed to garner larger audiences than a championship contender. While again, all the problems with the market, how far away they are, how they sucked. Like the market demand is at least around 12K. You cannot tell me 12K of market demand is not going to be able to fill 4,700 supply. There is no way it
Exactly.
doesn't happen.
Closer to the season ticket holders, closer to the lower bowl season ticket holders. So this is another number that you said that you follow Craig Morgan pretty closely, but he's the one who brought this out that like 75% of their lower bowl season ticket holders are on the east side, which is where they are closer to now. Like that all helps. The other one being sponsors want to get in bed with the Coyotes now because they actually see it realistically possible. Oh, hey, look, they're in Tempe. Yeah, we want to do some work with them, right? Like, that's also another revenue generator that they didn't have previously. And yeah, so I don't know if they'll be more profitable. I can't make that decision until I actually see it. But I know at the very least it's not going to be, oh, they're just burning money. We should just like remove them from the what's the next talking point I hear them saying recently? Remove them from the
Revenue
the
sharing?
fund the funds that they get handed from
Yeah,
the rich teams.
that's straight out ridiculous. That whole revenue sharing, them
Yeah.
us leaving that. Like, it's and yeah, like it's really it's mind boggling to be completely honest. Like yeah, that's yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, like I just wanted to finish off here.
Hmm.
Alex Murrow is obviously prepared for this, and that's it. We're ready. We're ready. It's gonna be a couple years, and that's why again I just told Maddie. I am Richard. I just messaged you.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I got to run. I have an activity now. I
Okay.
didn't realize I should have
I
made a
was like,
little bit more
go
time.
ahead,
I
it's
feel
fine. We
terrible.
appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I really appreciate having me on. But one more point. just about the draft. So I guess, yeah, well, we could talk about this a different time, but hopefully next time. But just about the draft, like, so when Shaner fell, so I knew right away when the Habs passed on him. Obviously, they had a plan there, which they
Yeah.
did, right? Because they traded for Kirby Dach. They gave up pick 15,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew there was no chance. Once we heard Jersey, once Tom Fitzgerald confirmed that Jersey was keeping their pick, we knew that they were taking Nemec. They were taking the Slovakian defenseman.
Yeah.
By the way, for Slovakian hockey, we love that. Okay,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
you
awesome.
get to three. You get to the Yotes. Everyone, we've been talking. Yotes Twitter's been talking about how we should have got Shaner. We had such bad luck, and everyone's like, and I'm sure I don't know what you guys were thinking, but I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh my god, like this will be the craziest thing. We can get Shane right at 3. We didn't win the lottery, and then next year hopefully we'll get Bedard. But anyway, next year the top 5 picks next year are basically all like unbelievable players. So
Yeah.
obviously Bedard's the cream of the crop, but again, it's going to be a great year next year. Some really good forwards, a couple good defensemen, but we'll get to that at a different time.
Yeah.
But I knew, I was confident we were taking Logan Cooley. I love Shane Wright. I think he's a great player. I just thought that, like logically, it made more sense. What are the Coyotes trying to do right now? We're trying to, just stay bad a little bit longer, get ready for the 23 class. It's stacked, right? We're playing in this multi-purpose arena. Hopefully, gonna have our in the next few months and just can get a shovel in the ground in the beginning of 2023. Have the arena projection ready in a couple of years. And guess what? Well, look at that! Look at that! Logan Cooley committed to college next year.
Yep.
Logan Cooley, highest ceiling in the draft. Logan Cooley, most exciting player in the draft. The scouts labeled him. It all made sense. It all fit the puzzle. Not and Shane Wright might be the better player in the end of the day. And again, and it could be well. And people criticize Coyotes. I want to hear what you guys have to say about that.
All right.
I was very happy with that. As you have this exciting player. He's not ready yet. Maybe in a year, maybe in a year and a half. Connor Geeky's a stud and a half. He's a great two-way player. Plays hard, smart player. Not the greatest skater. His stride's a little. It can get much better. It's a little sloppy right now, and they'll fix that up.
Yep.
We hired like you said that Andrew Barroway didn't do. Andrew Barroway didn't commit to having a good development staff and having good scouts. I don't know if you guys remember the first piece Maruo did right when he got here was hire that scout from Tampa. He snagged him, their top scout. Development coaches. I love Andre Turgenev, excuse me. I've loved him since his days in Ottawa as a 67th coach in the OHL. I've loved him. He's a player's coach. People love playing for him. That's the biggest compliment you can give a coach is when you tell your coach, I love playing for you. And the player, when you have the room, a lot of coaches don't have the room. Hockey coaches unfortunately get recycled a lot. You see it all the time, but he has the room. Turgenev has the room. The boys love him there. And I think that's a huge factor. So I love that. I think that's a huge thing. And just it all lined up perfectly. And Maverick Lamoureux, man, he might be the most polarizing player in one. Like kid's 6'7", He's got a good shot, great offensive ability. He's going to play another year or two in the queue, and we'll see what happens from there. But I'm very, very, very excited about our class. I want to get we had some good picks in round 2. I love that trade for Jack McMahon. I think he can be a really good third line center, maybe even a second. Again, we'll see. Because Billy said at his press conference on day 1 of the draft that he addressed his center position. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you can always make room for Bedard. So
yeah. That guy.
Yeah, we'll find a spot for him.
We'll find a spot for him now. I think even a top 6 spot we can find for Bedard.
Yeah.
But
So
that's my quick draft thought. We'll get into it more hopefully next time. Hopefully I can come back on for you guys.
Yeah.
We'll bring you on another time. Might be in 16 years, could be in 16 days.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
Well, it's gonna be a long off season. We got 8 weeks till we get hockey again. So I'm sure we can find a week to get you to hop back on with us. Matt, I want you, if it's okay, to talk about your Shane Wright story before we lose Mark here, because I think this is the most important thing. You were questioning why would the Coyotes take Logan Cooley over Shane Wright, And this story that Matt's got is probably the most polarizing and most important of why Shane Wright did not go to the Coyotes.
All right. So, and again, I'm not questioning his talent. I don't care about him as a person, either way, but still. So, I have a friend that worked for the team or around the team that Shane was playing for in juniors.
Kingston.
Well, I want to be as generic as possible because
Yeah.
you don't want to throw a
Sorry,
source under the bus.
My bad.
But he spoke personally to Shane Wright. I know the team he said he wanted to go to. I've chosen to keep that completely secret, but he did confirm to me, that a friend of mine, that Shane Wright had no interest in playing in Arizona, none whatsoever. So when you look at GMBA, first off, before the draft, Logan Cooley was talking about how he liked Clayton Keller. You know, the weather's nice. He likes the market. He likes what they're doing here. Talking very well about Arizona. And GMBA comes out and says, we want kids that want to play here. I would not be surprised if his first question is, if we draft you, do you want to come play in Arizona? And if the answer is not an astounding yes, okay, thank you for your time. Shake hand. Again, that's our speculation. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But especially with me knowing Shane had zero interest in coming to Arizona, whether he fell or not, that would immediately eliminate him from any sort of consideration, because we're trying to build a culture here, and I love BA for this. Armstrong is I think he's doing phenomenal work right now. He wants to bring in people that want to play here, that they want to help this market grow, they want to help this team get better, they want to compete in the playoffs and for a Stanley Cup in Arizona specifically. And that to me is the biggest reason why we didn't go after Wright, because he didn't want to be here. And I know I have some criticisms with his attitude so far, that we saw a couple things, some rumblings before I didn't really take serious, but that death stare on draft day.
That was legendary. That was legendary.
So it's
Mhm.
like I can understand why anyone would be apprehensive to bring that kid in, because it's, whether, again, good player, not going to knock his playing ability, but if you're looking for character, you're looking at different aspects of like that. That to me is why we go after Cooley, and like that was a phenomenal moment, because he's a great player and he wants to be here, and you
Hey, Matt.
cannot ask for anything better.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, you're 100% right. That's an incredible scoop. I just want to say I want to give the kid a benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
He's a local Toronto boy. So I don't think, again, I'm not going to speculate or anything like that, but I don't think he wants to go to Montreal, because I think he grew up a Leafs fan. So I'd imagine that Montreal wasn't. But again, he wants to go first. So I don't know if he wanted to be a Montreal Canadian. I know he wanted to go first. He's a Leafs fan at heart. He loves Matthews and Martin. He grew up in the era. Like that's that. But that's an incredible scoop, and you're right. The most important thing about building a culture is wanting, you want the players to love it. You just want to be there. So I think GMBA, for those that don't know what I'm saying, GM Bill Armstrong, guy, the guy who makes everyone wear matching suits, the guy's got the best press conferences in the league. Him, he's the
Yeah.
best, and he definitely wants a culture. And you know what? And I want to give some credit to Doug Armstrong. He GM Canada in 2014 and 10 and 14 the Olympics and 16 the World Cup. It's all from him. It's all from Doug. He is the man. Like you see in St. Louis. Again, I know they only won one cup, but they're just consistently a good hockey team.
Yeah.
Well played. They adapt styles. I mean, I think he gets a lot from that, and and Billy's emphasis on scouting and player development. A lot of coaches like veteran leadership, and Billy's emphasis on that is really important, because Billy was the head scout there, and he was in charge of that area as the assistant GM. But I definitely agree with you, and I do want to just for literally a minute just touch on the Leafs, because we can touch them a lot, but
Yeah.
just quickly, like Richard, you were saying how you like the Leafs. Listen, polarizing offseason. Samsonov, I think, is a great goalie. He's a first-round pick, first-round talent. Matt Murray, if he stays healthy, can be really, really good. So I'm very excited about that. I don't think we're finished yet. I think there's a trade in the works. I think there's a chance the next time I come on this pod, Kerfoot's not a Leaf anymore. There's some free cap space. Um, I think I definitely think we can use another piece or two as a winger. For a winger, maybe a middle six winger. I really liked Mason Marchman. He was a Leaf, and he was traded. Unfortunately, that was really tough. Kyle Dubas developed him. There's some just interesting pieces there. I'll tell you one thing: our D-core's coming in the best D-core we've ever had coming into opening night. Our
Yeah.
top our 60 are deep and they're good. You obviously got Matthews and Tavares down the middle. Tavares goes through a lot in Toronto, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of criticism, but the guy doesn't get as much credit as he should be for his two-way game. Maybe, yeah, you know what? Maybe he's not as good as he was when he was on the contract. People got to remember, he still took a hometown discount to come home, and you got to give the man credit because San Jose, Dallas, these guys were offering 13, 14 sheets.
Yep.
They were offering 13, 14. They were offering that cash. And he said no. And again, Kyle's whole logic was this cap was going to go up like crazy because the TV deal was on the horizon, and it made a lot of sense. And that's why everyone was excited. When the day Tavares signed, it was Canada Day. It was another holiday. They called it John Tavares Day the next year. After he had 47 tucks year one, right? Career high. Marner was setting him up, literally breadbasking it. It was crazy. Just giving him the breadbasket and throwing it in the 4x6. It was unbelievable. But he took Toronto home and he became the captain, the leader of our franchise. And I think it's a very important thing. He wants to be here. And like you guys are saying, hopefully we have that. Sounds like Kyle's wants to be around. Chiklin's situation's interesting. Again, he said some interesting comments, but listen, if you get the right price, you trade him. And you have it. I love Victor Soderstrom. That Darcy Kemper trade, wow! You got like Connor Timmins is a stud and a half. Like there's some really really good players back there, and I like Moser. Like I'm very excited. And you just like you said, build a culture, build your own culture. You have a coach, the players' coach, Andre Turgeon, and I think again it replicates what the Leafs are doing. And the Leafs. I don't think they're a one round playoff team. I think when they burst through, they're gonna burst through hard. I think we can roll because we definitely have the talent. I just hope we have the determination, and you got to get the right players, and I think we have the right coach, and hopefully the Yotes build that type of culture because that's how special teams win cups, like Tampa, like Pittsburgh, like Sid. You know what I mean? Like look what Sid did in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mark, you are 110% right,
I was gonna, sorry. No. You finish because I'm gonna go into the Leafs positively.
Because you knocked it out of the park, and yes, you're right. There is one more trade in the works. Schmaltz for Matthews, 1-for-1.
Oh, guys, I have a few more minutes. I didn't realize I'm actually good. I don't unless you guys want to stop it here. I'm good. I didn't realize. I'll change the schedule.
Oh, yeah, okay. We have enough time for at least one more topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
wait.
Yeah.
I want to go positive on the Leafs because I am big on the Leafs too. I dump on the Leafs constantly. The jokes, because unfortunately your fans are jerks to us, so I have to be jerks back. But with that being said, wholeheartedly.
Remember me when you think of the fans, okay?
Okay,
I'll remember. You, thinking about hot take hockey. We got a couple good ones.
Yeah, I'll remember you. But so I believe that the Leafs are very close. And aside from the Sault Ste. Marie jokes with Matt Murray, I think that there is something interesting there. I feel like it's a little magic beans, but in my head, the crazy tinfoil hat part of my brain goes, this actually kind of makes a lot of sense bringing Matt Murray in because he came in, right? He didn't play much of the regular season. He played the playoffs, won 2 cups with Pittsburgh, right? He goes to Ottawa. He is unfortunately thrown to the wolves. I'll say that. I see him kind of being a lighter load in the regular season kind of guy, and then all of a sudden being magical in the playoffs. And I agree with you. I think if the Leafs make it out of the first round, I don't think it's a second round exit. I think they go deep if they're making it.
Exactly. Heck yeah, baby. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Go Leafs, go.
Go Leafs, go. I will be positive with the Leafs. All right. I still believe that they're a very good team.
You know what? Damn it! I kind of hate you, Mark. Now I can't just blindly hate on the Leafs. Now I have to be cautious when I hate on the Leafs.
I know you guys are sucking up to me because you want 34 coming home. I know that.
It's funny. For me, it's a meme. I don't think he ever comes back, but Arizona fans, they love it. And if he does come home, I have to buy Richie a jersey.
Yeah, we have a bet on it. So if
you guys are gonna think I'm nuts, but when Johnny Toronto, that's what we call him here, when he signed here July 1st, 2017, me and the boys were celebrating, and I look at one of my buddies, I'm like, hey, is it a coincidence his deal is up the same year McJesus is?
Sorry, I missed the part of that. What'd you say about McJesus?
The McJesus?
Yeah, that's what we call him. Oh, you guys don't know this yet,
Yeah,
eh?
no,
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
McGee's.
I know who he is.
I love calling him
I just
Jesus.
missed the first part of what you said.
Oh no, I was just saying. So me and my okay. So right, so Johnny Toronto's cap hits 11 sheets. Right, he makes 11.
Yeah,
His AAV's 11. So obviously, like touched on before, Kyle was making the cap going up because he had his sights. He had his sights on Petrangelo a couple years down the road. He thought the TV deal was gonna cap was gonna go up like crazy. He didn't realize COVID was gonna come hit us hard and everything was gonna
yeah.
stay flat, which makes Tampa's run, by the way, all more impressive. But anyway,
Mhm.
so I looked at my buddy, July 1st, 2017. As Leaf fans, he's telling on, and I'm like, hey, maybe it wasn't July 1st. It was probably a couple days after because you go on cap friendly for a second. But I'm like, hey, is it a coincidence that McJesus and Johnny Toronto are up the same year and 11? I'm sure JT will re-sign here for a cheap deal at 34, 35 years old. But how about McJesus coming home?
Maybe. I like the idea, and
Hey, I'm,
I see that narrative getting pushed of get him out of Edmonton. I don't know how I feel.
hey, listen. Okay, I don't. Okay, well, I'm sure you don't feel great about that because because you don't like us in general. But I'm going to tell you, you want to hear a scoop? Matt, you want to hear a little nice scoop? I'll tell you a little nice scoop. So
Hit a scoop.
I have a cousin who's a good buddy of mine. So I have a cousin who's a good buddy of mine. So his father-in-law is the doctor for McCheese's grandparents.
Okay.
And this guy's been watching Connor since he was 14 when he got exceptional status to go play. He's been watching him since his Marlies days. System Canada at GTHL. So I was a participant. There's many of us were. I wasn't in AAA, but I played some solid hockey as a kid. I'm not too bad of a player, but McGee's played for the Marlies Bros, and then he moved on to the OHL, got exceptional status. McGee's was playing Erie, and my grandfather's patient would always combine it. My grandson's a great player, so my cousin's father-in-law would always say is McGee's grandfather. Like, okay, he's a regular house league. I don't know if you guys familiar with the term house league? Like anybody can play.
Yeah, anyone can play in the house
Yeah,
league.
yeah.
Just be careful, Mark. We are losing your connection a little bit here. I'm only getting pieces and whatnot. So I don't know if you've moved on us, but your connection's getting a little spotty.
You hear me now?
A
Yes,
little
I
bit.
can hear you
Hello?
now.
Yeah.
Flint,
We're better or not? We're not great still.
we're better.
You sound better. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so my cousin's father-in-law was like, all right, I'm sure he's a pretty good little player. And sounds great. I hope he good luck in the rest of his career. And I'm sure he's thinking to himself, like, okay, this guy's nuts. This guy's talking about his grandkid being like a next superstar of the NHL. And then one
Yeah.
day, my cousin's father-in-law comes in and McJesus grandpa was sitting there. He's like, hey, guess what? Bobby Orr's coming to see my grandson today. And the guy's thinking to himself, like, what? Like Bobby Orr,
Yeah.
this kid's legit. I got to see this kid play. So he's been following him since Erie. He got assigned, but Jesus signed something, give it to his grandfather to give to the doctor. Like he's the family doctor for the McDavids, and essentially almost. So he got like a signed puck from the draft. Like he's relatively close to the family. Unfortunately, David's grandfather passed away, but I think he's still close to the family in the ground. But he always said that McDavid's parents and his girlfriend's from Toronto, and he always said like he always tells me whenever I see him, he always says he thinks McDavid's coming home. So how's that for
Okay.
a credible source?
That's a
Okay.
scoop. Too bad. You
That's a
had the
scoop, eh?
you had the McJesus girlfriend drama we saw a month ago. Heyo, because he actually wants to get kicked out of Edmonton to come home to Arizona, where all the superstars are. I can't.
Uh,
I can't.
By the way, him and 97 and 34 were in the ice den last summer. I don't know if you remember that.
oh yeah.
I know. 34 is always here. I think he still has I
Yeah,
think he bought a house out here because
yeah,
all his
big time
family is
house.
still
He's a
here.
big time. Yeah, sure. 34's house. He's got a house there. I think. Well, Cutter Gauthier is a local boy. Okay, I was going to tell you this. I told you before the pod. So I have a buddy who played for the junior Yotes.
Mhm.
Like his like he played with Josh Doan. He played with Matthew Nyes. Like he played with these boys.
Yeah.
Like these are his boys. Like these are his good friends. He was a defenseman on that team. He was a great player. Yeah, he was a great player. He was great. I think he's who's his? I forgot. Is it his coach? I forgot who his coach was. One of the former Yotes player. I forgot who it was. Let me think. You can get back to this, but anyway, like
Didn't
something
McCulloch
nice.
a coach there?
Yeah, McCulloch
Yeah, it
was a
wasn't. Yeah, but it wasn't
coach.
McCulloch. He's actually a former leader. It wasn't McCulloch.
There's a couple former Coyotes
Yeah,
that are coaches. I know Z's
um,
one. I
Give me.
think is Grabs coaching
Morris.
or is he just sticking around?
I think he's just sticking around. Morris is a coach. Derek Morris.
I might be
I,
Derek Morris. It might be Derek, but I think
yeah,
that for sure.
I know there's
Um,
another forward. I don't remember his name. I've drawn a blank on his name. There's also Matt
um,
Schott, who doesn't. He isn't a part of the
oh,
Coyotes, but they
yeah,
that you
sure.
know that was a really
Rest
emotional
in peace.
story.
Matt Shaw was
Yeah.
the man. He was the man. We love Matt Shaw. His coach was. Darn it. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. So I just want to get on this point. Like I live in Toronto, yeah, center of the hockey universe. So like I play modern hockey. I have a good coach. I love my coach. It's great. He's awesome. We have a good team, good squad of guys, and like it's nice and it's beautiful. And we have rinks everywhere, and we have the ODRs, the outdoors. It's amazing. Hockey's much more accessible. One of the benefits of playing in a smaller market is having guys like Derek Morris, having guys like Milo, having guys
We're,
like Shane Doan,
I,
having
I
guys like
hate to
Gavin
interrupt
Hughes.
you, Mark. You're starting to cut back out again.
I'm
You
sorry,
said
Mike. Sir, I feel. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, you hear
it's
me
all right.
better now. We're still.
Yeah, and you're talking about it's good to have guys like Demo, guys like Donor.
And Daniel Briere, you have all these guys around as coaches, and
Yeah.
like they're just there. Like it's like a smaller market, so you can access them much easier. And they're I'm not saying that the guys in Toronto, but like they're around, and they love to share their thoughts on the game and help you out. And that's the beauty of being in a small market. You can have Shane Jones coaching your minor hockey team.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't really have that in Toronto. Like in general,
Exactly.
you couldn't
Oh,
have like a
dude,
legend
dude,
coaching,
dude,
kids.
if you have a Marley, you have any Marleys like Rich Clune, the captain of the Marleys,
Mhm.
he's recognized on the street. Everybody from the OHL up is recognized on the street. Like I'm
And the
Yeah.
Marlies,
talking
that's the
like,
AHL team, right?
yeah, the Marleys are a farm team. Yeah, they're the
Hmm.
equivalent to the Tucson Roadrunners. Like
Mhm.
these guys, anybody, like you guys, like David Ayers is a hero, is a local hero here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Um,
Yeah, like these
well,
guys,
not to
you guys can't
insult.
walk 10 feet.
I actually unironically mean that. Like, I'm sure that's actually a really cool story. Like, hometown
Yeah,
guy gets to
exactly.
play
No,
against
you're not
his
supposed to.
favorite team.
100%.
Single-handedly beat his favorite team as a
Not single-handedly.
42-year-old man.
If you go
He
back and watch that
single-handedly
game,
Guys,
beat his favorite
if
team.
you go back and watch that game, the Canes played an unreal defense in front of
But
him.
it does not
oh yeah.
matter because
No,
he still
I-
beat the Leafs, and I think it's funny.
You obviously hate Adam Wild and Steve Dangle. Shout out to my Dan. I love Dangle. I've been watching Dangle for like 6 years. I watched him when he had like 10,000 subscribers. I was one of those. Like I got all my boys into him,
Yeah.
and I loved him. And now he's like now he's like a little too official. I don't like like he's not as genuine anymore because he's got all these sponsors and he's got so much
Yep.
work he does for Sportsnet. Sportsnet's like the Canadian hockey company. But
Yep.
I like yeah. Like I love Dangle. I love Jesse. They're great guys. And I know they don't love the Yotes, so Matt's gonna be upset about that one. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
They can sit and spin for me. They can.
But but like real talk, like it's just it's wild. Like yeah, like the David Ayers story is just that's why hockey's the greatest. Like you just don't have that in other sports.
Yeah.
Like what? Like you just don't have that. It's and Scott Foster, David Ayers, these guys are all a bunch. David Ayers, I've been to Leafs practice before. The team play practice. You get a picture with the boys. You get a picture with some of the players, and you get a picture. You see David Ayers doing the Zamboni there. Like it's unbelievable. He's the driver.
Yeah. Is he
Wild.
still
Anyway,
driving there? Is that what you were
oh
saying?
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. He's great.
All right,
He's great, Dave.
boys. Let me rein you guys in because I can hear the conversations. I can hear Richard in my head being like, "I'm gonna slap you for this episode being so long." Listen, is there anything else? Any closing thoughts? Any last thing you just need to talk about, or can we tell you to get the F out of our podcast?
Jokes aside,
Um,
Mark, we try to keep them around the hour mark, and we're hitting the hour 40 mark, which is fine. I'm not against it. I think we're having some really great productive conversation here, but just to let you know what Matt's talking about here.
Okay, listen, I'm good, guys. I'm sorry. I feel terrible. If I would have known, I for sure
Dude,
would have.
never apologize. This was fun. All right. It's just Richard's gonna hate you a little bit in the back of his mind for the
No, I'm
editing, but
not.
he'll get over it.
Hey, listen, if you guys any last points, Richard, you want to bring up that we didn't hit on yet, or I'm saying anything else? Any other things?
I do have something I just wanted to toss out there because you may not have heard. Matty Knives and Josh Doan are actually running a camp here in Arizona, and they're going to be trying to consistently do it where they're trying to help little kids out and teach them. So I thought that was a really cool story that, obviously him being a prospect for the oh my goodness, for Toronto. For the Leafs. I don't know why I wanted to. I looked at your picture and wanted to say Blue Jays, and I was like, nope, that's not it. That's not it.
My pick
But
is shout out to my Jays who are up 1 now, top 8. We're
Shout
rolling.
out to my
We won 9 in
D-backs
the
who are
last 11.
losing as usual.
My boys go. Hey, by the way, good David Peralta trade.
I don't want to talk
That was
about
a
it.
good trade.
I'm sad by it.
Fine.
It
I get
depresses
that.
me.
But you know what? That's how it works. We got to retool. But anyway, okay. You know what? Richard, you banged it right on the hammer. First of all,
yeah.
Matt and I's, the kid's a wagon and a half. Kid's a wagon.
Oh yeah.
He's a wagon. I'm very excited about it. Like Kyle Dubas, his drafts are starting to come to fruition a little bit, and like it's looking nice. But and so is Donor. Donor's great. Donor looks great. Everyone last year was like, oh, Yotes reached for him. He could have been a 3rd-round pick. Kid looks like he's starting to have. What a good rookie year he had at ASU. He was great. And I'm very excited about him too. It's gonna be good to see another Donor and another Yotes jersey. And God willing, the new arena, which we're all praying for. There you go. Matty's already on the K. But real talk, like that's a beautiful thing. Like that's something that Toronto, you see it, but these things are sold out in 3 seconds, and you're on the waiting list for 6 years. Like that's amazing. And I'm sure Cutter Gauthier gives back. And the Kachucks, I know the Kachucks reside in St. Louis, but yes. I know they're in the summer a lot. And let's give a shout out to our boy. Let's give a shout out to our boy Biz, spitting chicklets. What a legend.
The legend himself, Mr. Stonehands, turning his career into a Coyotes propagandist. I love him.
Yeah.
You love that. He is the man.
Yeah, I do appreciate Biz. One last thing I was going to say about the teaching kids here. This might be something that you don't hear because you're so far away, but I want to. Once again, I want to spread this message of Arizona to everybody, including our neighbors to the north. Arizona has recently, in the past 5 years, become just an absolute hotbed for hockey. We see some of these guys starting to come to fruition, like the ones you were just talking about. Arizona is, like you were talking about, how camps are filling out in 4 seconds up in Toronto. It's becoming that way here in Arizona as well. 5 years ago, a camp would take a week to fill out. And now they fill out in 4 minutes. Like that's not hyperbole. That's exactly like they are filling out quickly, and that's why Bettman wants to keep hockey in Arizona, because the fruits of his labor from moving them here in '96 is finally starting to pay tribute. I was born in '96. Matter of fact, I was born in '96, and my income is now just coming online for the Coyotes, right? That's the fruit of labor. That's how you get these dedicated season ticket holders. The joke is here with, oh goodness, DeFranco, I think his name is, with the meme with the noose around his neck, first time, question mark. Like what us fans, we've been through it for a hell of a long time, and if we're not gone yet, we're not going to be going anytime soon. So
you can't kill us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are relentless. You guys are absolutely relentless. Honestly, it's
that's why we are the best Arizona Coyotes podcast.
Oh.
Heck
That's a
yeah.
hot take.
Hot take, you
Hey,
got the AZ sports guy, the number one, like nobody that will never get recognized ever unless he's at a Rattlers game or at GameStop for some reason. I had one more
heck
thing I
yeah.
wanted to talk about while you're still on here. I will always claim Matty Kachuk because he was born here. I know him and Brady both grew up in St. Louis. Brady, born in St. Louis, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I want anytime you are conversing with anti-Coyotes Canadian fans, I want you to look at them and say, okay, then how come our best player and our best prospector from Arizona?
I do say trust me. I'm on it. I'm on your case.
You're cutting out real bad. Sorry. What did you say there, Mark? We missed it.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we can
Oh, a
hear
little
you.
bit, yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying, Maddie, trust me, I say that. By the way, I'm sorry for the comments. But yeah, Maddie, I
All
say
right.
that. Trust me, I know. I'm familiar. I got my buddy from Arizona, played for the junior outs, like I was saying. I gotta get his coach's name. I forgot which one it was. It's actually very frustrating. Oh, 1 second. What okay, I got it. Who was okay, the assistant general manager that was a player for a while for us, who was let go by Billy. Who was it?
Sullivan. Steve Sullivan?
Steve Sullivan.
Steve
Hang
Sullivan's
on.
still here in
Steve
Arizona?
Sullivan. Steve
Yeah.
Sullivan was the U16 junior outs coach. That's who it was. And that's
Yep.
when I was like to him, I said, my buddy's name, his name is Ben. I'm like, hey, Ben, you got Steve Sullivan as your coach. Like, that's an unbelievable thing. That's the beauty of the small market. That's why,
Mhm.
like, if my kid was a hockey prodigy and I wanted to raise him, and I'd probably make sure he was born in Canada just so we can play for us in the Olympics and World Juniors. But after that, moving right to Arizona, right to St. Louis, where you can get these guys like the Kachuk brothers who are coaching these kids. Like, it's an unbelievable thing. Like, you're getting like the top of the line here.
Yep.
It's unbelievable, and that's why again, that's just again. I'm not. Trust me, us in Canada, like we have some unbelievable programs. And don't get me wrong, you have kids, you have families like the Hughes family who literally moved here just so their kids can, which pisses me off a lot. The Hugheses lived here, like Jack and Luke and Quinn. These kids lived here till they were 18 years old. They just were officially born in the States. They are Canadian, and
Hmm.
their nationality is probably they lived in Canada more in their life, and especially Quinn, who now plays for Vancouver. Like these kids, they literally grew up here. They played in the GTHL, exactly where I played, obviously a much upper division, and they just they played for the States after all their development, after all we gave them. But when you have the luxury of having guys like Steve Sullivan and Derek Morris and obviously donors walking around, the Oaks facilities and stuff, it's just can't take that for granted, and that's definitely a definitive advantage.
You know
Oh,
what,
yeah.
Mike? Shut the hell up. You're making it hard to hate Canada blindly. Just stop. Just go do your yoga or whatever people
You
do at
can't.
camp.
You're
I
not.
don't I don't know what people
You're
do in
putting a
camp.
face to Canada.
Play sports.
You're not
It's not.
letting Matt
It's funny.
dehumanize
It's
you.
funner to hate you when I don't see you, so I can be
Yeah.
like, I'm just envisioning like the drunk 45-year-old Canadian guy that could have gone pro if he didn't have a bum knee, and it's like Arizona doesn't deserve a hockey team because oh my god, they're sharing with a college arena, not like the Boston Bruins did it before. Not like Quebec had to share with a minor team. Not like Ottawa had to share with a minor team at one
San
point. Yada
Jose.
yada.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So that's really, just a quick question. What are they going to do with the facility, the annex they're building? What are they going to do when we move into Tempe, Garwan?
ASU
Leaving
just
it.
keeps it. It's part of the
Yep.
agreement.
$20 million
Oh,
down the
that's fair.
drain just for 4 years.
Right?
Yep.
But remember, Murillo doesn't have the money, Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Murillo
at
doesn't
Katie
have the money,
Strang.
obviously.
Anyway, ridiculous. Is it supposed to be a nice facility?
Yeah.
It's there. Like I said, the
I,
frame is already built up. Craig Morgan posted on Twitter. It's supposed to be what locker rooms, medical facilities, and like there's like, is it a workout area or is it like a
uh,
little smaller than that?
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure there will be, I think, a workout facility there for the away teams because the away teams generally will scrimmage in buildings and whatnot, the day before. I believe there will be that. And then I believe that the top floor is like office type stuff. I think there's like some of the. I think that's, if I were to guess, that's probably where they're going to put all the Toronto stuff, right? Like calling back to the league
Uh-huh.
and getting all that stuff taken care of.
All right. Anything else for G boys?
I just wanted to shove in some Canadian fans' faces at your best player and prospector, Arizona boys. So sit,
All right.
spin. That's all I got.
All right, I got one last quick one here, Mark, before
We're
we
gonna keep
leave
him,
here.
Matt. We're gonna keep him.
Okay, I was literally about to ask you, Mark, is Matthews leaving or is he coming, or is he staying there, or is he coming home? But
Okay, this is the $1 million question.
yeah,
I'm gonna try to make this as short as possible.
okay,
Okay, so when it comes to Poppy, the situation is like this. He's unique. He's different. He's different than most hockey players. Look at the best hockey players from this generation. Obviously, the first guy that comes to mind. He wins. He's a true Canadian citizen. Does everything right. Does everything with a smile. The nicest guy. Stops for every picture and every autograph. He stays with his team. He's loyal. Takes hometown discounts. Doesn't dress. He's not such a casual dresser. He's more formal. He's a good-looking dude. Wears a nice suit. You know what I mean? You don't see that with Matthews. Like Matthews is a cooler guy. Staying out with J Beebs. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
he's got his boys off the ice, and he does his own thing, and he wears his own style of clothing. And the Leafs kind of relax their game day. Sorry, I'm just blanking out. Whatever
Their
their game
formal
day.
clothing attire, right?
Yeah, their clothing, their code, right? Their dress code.
Dress
That,
code,
that there
yeah.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Their dress code. Like they kind of relaxed it for Austin because like that's what he wanted. So he knows that he runs this franchise, and he knows he's the face. Him and Johnny Toronto and Martins and and a good squad here. But I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. A lot of people think it's obvious that he's staying. A lot of people like I'm nervous and I'm not nervous for any team to pay him because I don't think that's what it is. But I am nervous if he stays. It's a deeper answer, unfortunately, because I think
Okay.
he knows deep down, and I think Marner knows, I think Eli knows, they screwed this up. They took too much money. They looked at the other teams. Look at Tampa. These guys are making so much less. Again, yes, you can argue state income tax is 0%, but guess what? You have the benefit of playing in the center of the hockey universe, where you're going to get endorsement deals from every company that meets you on the street and says hello. So yeah, maybe you're not making the same money when it comes to contracts. The endorsement deals are kind of much higher. That's the argument of playing in Canada specifically, and even more specifically Toronto. Like,
Plus, that bigger market opens you up to more like
so it's not about the
sponsorships and
money. I'll
stuff
tell you
like
that he
that.
ain't leaving. The only reason yeah, well, Toronto. You're talking about Toronto, right, Maddie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a big market. It
Yeah,
opens up
exactly,
sponsorship potentials.
exactly.
You could afford to take like I know people love Marner for his production and they hate him for the contract, but it's like Marner could have taken 2.5 million less, and because of where he plays, he would still have XYZ opportunity for a skate
Exactly.
sponsorship,
It's
glove sponsorship,
exactly
whatever
what I'm
other.
saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. We're on the same page with that. So at the end of the day, like you see with the drill, like the Flames offer a lot of, and you can tell when John. I don't know if you guys listen to his episode on Chicklets. Shout out to the Spin Chicklets again, the go to podcasts. No offense to us, but
I was gonna say we're the
but
garbage spitting chicklets. We're,
The
yeah, we'll
budget.
take that. I'll take that. 100%. I'll take that. But no, but real talk. Like Johnny said it, and you hear it in his voice, and you see it in the letter he wrote, and what he put in the Calgary newspaper. He really loved it. He had a great time there. He was there for a while. He adores the fans. The fans adored him. Is it annoying that he didn't tell them a little earlier so they could maybe try to trade his rights for some asset or some sort?
Yeah.
Yes, but he said it so genuinely. He said he did not know. He was stuck. He didn't know
Yeah.
what to do. He wanted to go closer to home, but at the same time, he loved playing in Canada. He loved being the guy. And yeah, it was quite crazy that he chose Columbus. And that was total out of left field. But like, I get it. Like I understand it. And like if Matthews would do that, I understand it. It's not the craziest thing to me in the world. If he went back to Arizona, will some fans be going crazy? Yes. But if he goes back to Arizona, no. Is it the craziest thing? No. I understand it. We had the luxury of benefiting that from John Tavares. Tavares
Hmm.
loved New York. He adored the fans. He was the face of the franchise. They offered him just as much cash with an extra year. Tavares took less money from. He could have made so much. He could have made San Jose at one point where it was offered him 15.9, which is mind boggling. But
Yeah.
like he wanted to go home. So either I think there's like a couple alternatives. Either he like takes a little bit less because he sets. They say, okay, screw this. We're taking less money. We're going to build a team around us. We have some good prospects coming up. We can finally, the Leafs can finally have a good free agency. Either he's going to do that, or he's. I can see him going to Arizona. I can see it out again. I have no love for the Yotes, so I wouldn't mind. But I would be devastated because the Leafs are my team at heart, and I love the Leafs, and I consider myself to be one of the biggest Leaf fans in Toronto. But I can see it. It's not out of the realm for me that that's something like that would happen. But I know I'm like kind of carrying on with this. It's just because it scares me to think about, but at the same time, it's definitely a reality. It's for sure a reality for me.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, I mean, it would be funny. I mean, it would be a great trolling opportunity because
Right,
the
that's what you're
Leafs
thinking.
benefited
I
from
agree.
it with Tavares, and then it did not benefit them with Matthews going back to Arizona. Like that would be poetic, and like I would have a field day with that. So like, give me maximum chaos. I don't care if you give him 15 million a year and we never win a cup. We're not going to win a cup anyway because all my teams lose. So Austin, please, at least
And
give me
you
some
know
meme
what?
potential.
You know what would be the cherry on top of all of that
Yeah,
would
what's
be
up?
if 34 goes home and then 97 comes home. That would be wild.
That would be cool. That would be actually really cool. I will say that. That
That would
would
be
be
wild.
crazy.
Now,
I got.
again, and I don't know if you saw.
Mhm.
Sorry, we go last thing quickly, and then I'm sorry, Richard, but
You're all right.
yeah, 97's at the Leafs facility right now. In the summer, he's training there.
Okay.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, he's been there with he's you know who he's with you know who he's with new assistant general manager Jason Spezza.
Oh,
really?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that they moved Spezza into AGM.
Yeah. Jason Spezza's the model Leaf, by the way. We love him
Yeah,
there. He's the man. Like how the guy was. Whatever. I don't even want to get into it. He was just the man. He was the way he was producing and everything. It was really unbelievable. Yeah. Like so, Spezza's official. He's called the special assistant GM to Kyle Dubas.
Okay.
And he trains with McDavid every day. And by the way, just a hot take, just so you guys can hear this here first. I believe Jason Smith is Justin Williams. He's going to come back after the deadline just to get his 1,000 points because he's 6 away, and then we're going to win the cup this year. How does that sound as a treat? He hasn't won a cup yet. No, he's 1,000.
I
That's a
I could
take.
I could see that happening. That is that's an interesting take. I'll give you that because he hasn't officially retired, so he
Correct.
could do that.
Well, I think he has. No, I think he has.
Oh, he has.
I don't know, like,
But
and
Brett
even if he
Favre
has, it doesn't
retired. He came back.
exactly. And
Yeah.
everyone, yeah. No, look, yeah, no, for sure. But even he has, like Justin Williams, also formerly retired. But I have that feeling. He's that type of guy. Like the guy's at the rink every day still in the summer. He's waking up at 7 a.m. and going to the game. So, like, if you're doing that, there's something up your sleeve. I think the Leafs. I'm sure you guys are aware. Like, you can have a maximum of 50 players on NHL contracts on your roster. So, I
Yeah.
believe the Leafs are just trying to maximize that now. And after the deadline, I'm not sure if it subsides or you can be more flexible with your cap um,
Mm,
heading into the playoffs. So maybe that's something. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Sorry,
maybe.
what was your last point, Richard?
I was just gonna say real quick. I know we keep dragging this outro on.
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
no
sorry.
no no. It's all right. I'm doing the same thing, so don't apologize.
Well,
I have to ask this question. Quick answer. I know Canadians are different from New Yorkers. JT got booed when he went back home to Long Island. Do you see Johnny Hockey getting booed at his first game back in Alberta?
Short answer is yes. Long answer is no.
Okay.
That's the answer. I think like he literally had 120. I think it was like they were just like it's crazy that he left to think right him and Kachuk like 2/3 of that line, but
Yeah.
they fleeced the Panthers. Bill Zito, I don't know what he was thinking there on that trade.
Yeah. That was
Huberdeau
an
Maliga,
amazing
that was
trade.
wild. Unbelievable. And also, they have cap space now. They're still trying to go after Naz, even though I don't know if he wants to play there. I think Naz is going to end up back in Colorado. I think Eric Johnson's going to retire. They're going to have their opens $5.5 million in cash, and they'll get it done. But we'll see. Could be not, but I think he wants to stay there. I think the longer it takes, the more likely. But I think Johnny Hockey gets. I think Canadians at the end of the day, and we love our players, so I think he's going to get love. I think it's all love. I really do. I think there might be some fans that boo, but I think he's getting all love. I think he's getting all love as he deserves.
Okay.
okay, that's interesting. I like chaos, so I think he's gonna get booed relentlessly, and it's gonna
Of course you
start a
do, Matt. Of
rivalry.
course you do.
Well, the thing I worry about is I do know that aside from on the ice, Canadians are actually very nice people. But I do know that Alberta is more of a blue collar state. A province, and that is something that worries me a little bit because, like,
Don't worry about that. By the way.
well, oh, okay, yeah. I try to keep it as correct as possible if I can, but
Alberta's very, yeah. Alberta's very conservative.
yeah. So the thing that worries me is a lot of them probably have a really deep emotional connection to their players. It feels like conservative states and provinces in general have a kind of special bond for like the working class player, right? Like here in Arizona, we love our working class players, whether it's
Right.
Lawson Krause or Ryan White back in the day when the Coyotes were no good.
Yes. By the way, I love Lawson Krause. Oh, I love him. What a good
Yeah,
player. What a good
That
player.
illustration's
He's a
coming up,
truck.
and it's terrifying me.
yeah,
Anyway, yeah, sure. You're right. You're definitely right. But I really think so.
okay,
I think so. Yeah,
all
I
right,
really do. I don't. You can. I don't know. Like again, not saying that Tavares didn't, and I'm sure Tavares was sad to leave the island, but you heard it in Johnny Hockey's voice on Chicklets. You heard it. You heard
yeah,
him. He was devastated that he left. He wasn't even sure why he left. In a way, obviously, he made the decision. He wanted to live in Columbus. Players are braves about living there. But I don't know. I listen. I love all Canadian teams other than Montreal and Ottawa. So I root for everybody. I love Canadian teams. I love when we do well. It's good for our markets and it's good for the fans and it's good for the game always. But like it's amazing. Like it's amazing how you literally in a week they went from Gaudreau and Kachuk to now they have like Uyghur, who's a stud of a
I
defenseman,
know.
and
With that
it
mullet, dude. Oh my god, that thing's
oh, what a stud,
legendary.
eh? What a stud and a half.
Yeah,
And he's great with the media. He's great with the media. Gives good answers. Not one of those hockey answers. He gives good answers. And
yep,
Huberdeau's going to be like Lindholm's going to like go off for 50. I think they do need another top six winger, and they know that. But I think like Toffoli's going to move up now. Like you have to remember that season Toffoli had in COVID year with the North Division.
yep,
Like
yep.
he was a wagon,
Will Connor
and
Zary
like
come up
Well,
the
to
same
be
way?
fair, half his
go
goals
hey
came on
Matt, that's a
Vancouver.
great point.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. No, for sure. Matt, that's a great point you just brought up. Connor Zary. Zary's another
Yeah.
wagon and a half. That kid is
Stud.
thick. Yeah,
Mm.
and also like Mangiapane is oh my gosh. Like I have a buddy who's good friends with Mangiapane, and he tells me like the kid's the hardest worker you've ever seen in the off season. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yep. He's in the Zach Hyman. He's in the Zach Hyman boat. So, but I like what they're doing there. I always like when that battle of Roberto's got to be good, and Huberto's going to obviously enhance that now. He's going to rejuvenate that. I for a second I had a feeling maybe like Cali would tear it all down, get the Alberta kid Connor Bedard. Like I thought that was going to happen, and but listen, they got a team there, and I really think they can use one more piece, another top six winger who can get them 25 goals. They don't need to replicate all of Kachuk and Gaudreau's points because I think that'll just
Yep.
come by committee. I
Yep.
think everybody getting better and all these young kids. But listen, just to end this off, I don't think he's getting booed. I think he's getting all. The kid was great, gave everything to that city he had. They would have. I thought they were going to smoke the Oilers. Listen, we call him McJesus for a reason.
Yep. Yep. And Draisaitl played on half a leg and still put up like
Half a
3 points a night.
Yep.
Is
Yeah,
crazy.
but honestly, like the MVP of that series. Okay, obviously, yeah. I am. I'm not. Listen, Drysdale was a great player. I'm not as high on him as other people are, but like that time, I had like 7 goals in that series in like 6 games or something. Like
Yeah.
that was wild. Like he's just. We love him. He's a homegrown star by us. Toronto kid. Didn't make the NHL till he was 24. Didn't get drafted. Nothing. He just
Okay.
worked. He's the model. He's the model. He's that model blue collar player.
Yep. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dominate the end here. I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna wiggle
We'll
my
dominate
nose.
nothing.
I'm gonna wiggle my nose at one last point about Calgary because I know we've got a lot to catch you up on and why I was so high on Calgary here. Us Coyotes fans, we know all about scoring by committee and how having a goaltender is incredible for getting you deep into the playoffs. I still believe Markstrom is a really good goaltender in this league, and we witnessed firsthand in 2012 what an amazing goaltender can do for your team, considering our top line centerman at that time was Martin Hansel. Okay? And let you in a little secret, Martin Hansel's not a first line center.
Shout out to him, by the way. I feel bad about that injury.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
that was tough. But
all right, so I'm going to end this podcast because if we just keep going, it's just going to go on for another 6 hours, and you got stuff to do at camp. Matt's got, I don't know.
Do the American thing, kick the Canadian out. I want to go play my children's trading card game tournament. I hate all of you. Get away from me.
All right.
Guys, one thing before you go. It wasn't like I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Thanks for responding to everything, and I had a pleasure, and I hope we can do this again.
Thanks for your time. Yeah, you actually do surprisingly know puck. Like I said, I only watched that little bit of that one pod. I'm like, yeah, I don't hear anything I dislike.
Hey,
I'm
Matt,
like, hey.
surprisingly?
Yeah, surprisingly. Because remember, you're a Toronto fan. How much can you know?
All right.
Guys, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. Have a great day, boys.
Thank you. You too.
Hey,
Alrighty,
peace.
I'm gonna call an end to this podcast. I'm gonna say thank you so much for watching. I didn't do my begging, so I'm gonna get it in now.
Like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Yeah.
Sorry about the bad service, by the way.
It's all right. You're all right, Mark. Hopefully next time we'll get you on a little bit more of a stable connection, and so it'll be a little bit easier. But I think for the most part, everybody got an understanding of what you're talking about, and there were some really good, really great points that we were able to bring up back and forth to each other. Anyways, make sure to like, favorite, subscribe on all of your listening platforms, whether that's YouTube visually or audibly on whatever platform you're on, because we have them on all the platforms. Click the links down below. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. This was a long one. I think that's just how this podcast works. It's the donor special. There you go. It's the donor special. We brought on the Canadian kid for the Canadian episode, Mr. Canada himself, Shane Doan. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.